Markets poised to open lower this morning. Here's the Nasdaq. I mean, still holding this uptrend on the 15-minute chart, but certainly poised to open below where we closed yesterday to the tune of a couple dollars. If you look at the S&P 500, you're seeing the same thing, this uptrend, but we are very likely to open lower. Now, some of this happens as we continue to digest headlines out of the Middle East, because oil certainly poised to open higher here today. Reuters reporting as of, I think, less than an hour ago, within the last hour, 2 hours or so, we have reports that Iran's supreme leader and other Iranian leaders are saying that near weapons-grade uranium within Iran must remain in the country, something that we know the U.S. side is certainly not going to agree with. We also had some FOMC minutes yesterday that were maybe a little bit more hawkish than people were expecting. We know we already had the pretty large dissenting vote in a more hawkish direction, but apparently other Feds that did not vote for that, getting rid of the rate easing, they also agreed with that stance. So interesting look here, and of course, we have to talk about NVIDIA. NVDA came out here with massive earnings, massive beats, and the market didn't really react too much to this number. There's going to be a lot to be said about NVIDIA earnings, but they're not the only name that reported. Walmart also here to the downside on probably a more muted mixed report than people were expecting. Intuit also here with these layoffs being confirmed that were previously reported. Despite a decent report here for INT, specifically with their guidance. Lots to discuss today. How are you doing, Sharif?
Good, thank you, Adira. As you mentioned, lots to discuss today. Quantum in focus as IBM, GFS, all the quantum names moving pretty aggressively on a tie-up with the government. We'll keep an eye out on that. And Tesla launching FSD in China after many months, in fact, years of delays for that company in China. NIO also reporting earnings this morning, speaking of China, up 5% this morning as well. And Samsung, hey, looks like they have their ducks in a row. Their employees slated to sign a new labor agreement today, with some people actually getting over 100% bonuses. So should be a good look there, Adira.
Yeah, it seems like a good look for both Samsung and the labor individuals, which is not always the case here, guys. But lots to discuss, lots of different sectors. Let's say good morning to Sean and Neil.
Let's. Good morning, everybody. And
that's $340,000 bonuses they're getting. Isn't that something else? That's pretty crazy. Yeah, that'd be nice to get one of those wake-up calls. That's the kind of money that you're getting. But congratulations to Samsung.
Yeah, why not?
Employees over there.
Congratulations if you own a quantum stock yesterday, as of today.
Yeah.
Because that's where the excitement's not with NVIDIA, and it's certainly not with the chips right now. Like, I looked over, the only chip name that was up was like ARM on my quote board. Actually, yeah, it was ARM. I'm not sure why. Micron's up a little bit, Tim. So Micron and ARM are gapped higher, but it's like Intel's down 3, AMD's down 1.8, SMCI's down a point, NVIDIA's exactly flat. So if you're IBM, GFS, QBTS, IonQ, Rigetti, like they're all getting the benefit of potential government investment and actually movers in today. And then you got this Walmart or guidance, right? Worried about costs, input costs going higher, and if those that are the most able to pass on to consumers and able to get the best deals when they're getting supply are concerned about cost, that's kind of a big deal. So Walmart under some pressure. This is now at the 50-period moving average, and if it loses, remember it's pretty highly priced, not cheap. If it loses to 50. It could have a little bit more to fall. So, yeah, not a great report there for Walmart, but obviously the one that everyone cared about was NVIDIA. And if you bet on flat, you win and win overwhelmingly. Exactly flat. I mean, I thought maybe like 1% up or 1% down, but
yeah, it's pretty.
At this point, we just shrug at these numbers.
It didn't even. We want to thank everybody yesterday. We had over almost 10,000 people watching, so it was a really good after party when we talked about the NVIDIA earnings. Yeah, the initial move was down, and then we thought we were going to get up to 230 or so. And then Jensen didn't really say too much, a whole heck of a lot there. Components still a problem, getting some of the inventory coming through there. Really like the dividend of 25 cents, but I mean, 25 cents is nothing. Just nice to see a little bit of a dividend. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be a needle mover or anything like that, but most of the big boys have some sort of a dividend, so it's nice to see NVIDIA joining that now with a quarter of a share, a quarter of a dollar there. So it's going to be, I guess, I don't know if that quarter that's going to be given quarterly or it's yearly quarter. I think it's only 25 cents a year. It's not Very, very small amount there. So we'll watch out for NVIDIA. SOX L, you know, that could be something to look at today with the AMD and some of those other names moving around. Probably a little more interesting than just trading it in individual names today. So we'll look at the SOX L. I had written down on here, obviously, NVIDIA to break. Just to see, so my number one trade idea today is going to be to see if NVIDIA can break this 225. We'll see if that winds up happening. And then, honestly, I don't have it written down yet, but I think this IBM is pretty good. You know, we actually were just talking about it the other day about that it fell into the 200 period. No, not 200 period. Way under that. Into some support. We had seen that it hadn't really been, you know, tanking and hadn't really been going anywhere. And then right now today, with the wise investment, hopefully the Wall Street Journal reporting that the U.S. government is going to be investing here into quantum. So we'll see if IBM can get going. I put another bid. I'm still long IBM. Put another bid in here in case it falls. We'll see if we can catch some IBM. Just like we caught some ARM the other day, which ARM is absolutely unbelievable. So there's that 5%. What is he? There's ARM right here.
It's only a couple points.
Better than minus 5%. Yeah. Options.
Beer man.
Options safe for now. Depends what you're doing. If you bought options, they're dead. If you wrote them, you're making money.
I have to assume. Just have to assume you're writing.
Oh, I don't know, because the implied moves. We saw someone.
It was 5.5, right?
Yeah, yesterday someone, you know, they had that. The implied move was 5.5, but someone paid. Remember, it was $9.60 for
the super chat. Yeah.
230 calls, something like that, which are still alive. There's ARM up 3%, so this name just keeps on going. So 262.
Hit the fill.
Nice upside there. I know Joe was hoping for a much. We talked about this yesterday on the show. Was hoping for a much bigger move yesterday, but you know sometimes you roll the dice and that's what winds up happening. And anyways, NVIDIA still has a chance of going, man. I don't want to say this name is dead by any stretch of the imagination. Intel was down 3. Was it 3%?
Yeah, that's the weak one.
Yeah, but it looks like it might be battling back. I thought it was 114. Yeah, so a little bit of a battle back here for Intel. So I think there's still some life in all of these names, right? I mean, the component names, not that Marvell's a component name, but you did see ARM going to the upside. Marvell's trying to hold out here as well. So zeros for Marvell, zeros for Intel, and AMD up and down. And then Walmart, right? We saw Target go upside there and then fall back in, and we're seeing kind of the same thing here with Walmart, where we hit that 130 marker. But Walmart's been a great stock. I mean, we bounced off this 50 period a couple times. Let's see if we can do it again. Oh yeah, that's right, because it changed over to the NASDAQ. So this might not even be. Well, it's been more than 50 days, right? So we'll wait to see if that can hold right into that level right now, 127 and change for Walmart. But valuations obviously in question there. Yeah, Walmart should be a strong one to play some dips, see if we can buy something there on Walmart. But
yeah, that one's, if you look at the weekly on Walmart, it's kind of barely a nudge. Not that bad. Like you're sitting at, where are we at, 127 now, so you're not even really at any kind of a significant pullback on a higher time frame there. Oh, and one more, because we mentioned retail there. Nike and Lulu were pretty intense plays yesterday, like very strong, all day long strong. And the Nike on the 15-minute, they're just super impressive and holding, and after a long accumulation. So I want to look for some continuation here. Anytime you have that kind of accumulation, if it's a one-day event, fair, but it would have to break 43.8 to be proven otherwise. And then Lulu was very similar. I'll just look at Nike for the day trade today, but they were basically more or less the same chart with the exception of the last 20 minutes of the day where Lulu was able to extend and you got that consolidation there on Nike, a bull flag on Nike. But both of these making a pretty distinct turnaround. So don't sleep on these either. The only thing we'll be sleeping on is yawning on that initial move on NVIDIA. But the beer man with a clarification. So let's throw that one up here in the super chat if we can. It was the beer man. Yeah, it was the beer man. You bought 222.
So it wasn't even 220.
Okay, so it wasn't. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you need I think you need $9.60. So you need to get that up to 235. So we'll see if that happens. You still have time. It was the 29th, I thought it was. So. You still have time for that. We'll see if that winds up happening.
About a week. I mean,
yeah, I think there's some good possibilities.
I think the thing we were looking at though was NVIDIA after the last several earnings has dropped, not for like a couple of days, but it has been dropping for like I think it's like a week or two, and then you've gotten the bounce. So we'll see if it can buck the trend this time. Now, obviously, past history is not indicative of what is going to happen in the future. It's not like written in stone like that. But we appreciate the super chat there, Beer Man. Slow Motion says Webull has earnings today.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they absolutely do.
That'll be a snore fest.
Probably. Who knows? But that, you know what? Rightfully, it's made a nice bounce. Like, it's undeniable. Like, it broke away from this $5 pretty well, and now is doing its own very long accumulation. It's set up for a potential break, but you know, if they don't come up with a decent report, then you're not going to get much of anything out of Webull. So quantum today, no doubt about it. Chip names are going to always be in play. Bitcoin's a little bit boring, still at that 77,000 level. Don't really have it on the watch. And we're going to get more IPOs. It's not just SpaceX. It's not just OpenAI, but we're going to have Nuclear Fusion Company coming up with an IPO soon-ish. So they're starting to matriculate out there. But yeah, that OpenAI, I think September is what they're saying. Somewhere around September, and of course, you know, it's just a matter of weeks before we get SpaceX.
Yeah, hopefully that's going to come. Their S1 was filed, so that'll be coming out very, very soon, and we'll see some crazy trading, I'm sure, on day one. I don't know what the pricing is going to be like, but 85% controlled by Elon Musk, so 85% controlled. So I'm not sure what kind of shares will be out there, and then Goldman Sachs is bringing it to market, so that should be a fun one. I think SpaceX, we don't have a date yet, do we, Adara, for that one? We just got the S1 filing, I think.
So what we heard, I mean, this is before the S15, but we were hearing reports it was going to go live on June 12th, 2026, which would be a Friday. Okay,
so that's very, very close now. I mean, it's already May 21st, so you're going to have like 10 or so more trading days, and then we're going to get ramped up into that. So that should be fun. I mean, we've seen, you know, we talked about Rocket Lab and all these other kind of names that have started to.
Offering.
Oh, they have an offering today. Okay, well, smart for them. Okay, down 7%. All right, I was going to say Rocket Lab's been doing so well, and which they have. I mean, look, even down 7%. Look, it doesn't even look like there's anything happening right now in Rocket Lab, down 7. So there's another, you know, area that you might want to look at, and I would almost take advantage of this today. You know, being down that much against what's going to be happening, like I just said, in about 15 days with SpaceX. So yeah, really excited to see some Rocket Labs, Astera Labs. There's a whole bunch of different names. A Lab, keep it going. AST Mobile, ASTS. So many different names, space names. So you could, you know, try to start nibbling in. I mean, maybe we could even talk about, you know, options plays into middle of June, just to see if some of these names want to go with that sort of trade through, right? I mean, if the pricing comes out unbelievable, which it will for SpaceX, I mean, why not get a little bit of a bump to some of these multiples as well? But anyways, they're not all the same. Only one is run by Elon Musk. And, you know, that's the thing about Tesla, right?
And XAI, too. That's the other thing.
Oh, yeah, XAI is probably a problem. Bundling those all up together is not a great thing for SpaceX shareholders. But
if you don't believe in XAI, then it's going to be trouble wanting to invest in. That is my guess. Because like every single Elon venture looks at the big future and not the thing generating now. Yep. So usually the valuation is based on not the thing in front of you, but the thing you're looking forward to down the line. Always worth keeping in mind. Because I have a feeling we were surprised when Cerebras had the pricing came out and then the open happened. Like even I was like, what? What's going on? I think SpaceX, you might see something. And I don't think we'd be surprised if it was like the open price from when they do the first pricing on the beginning of the week. Usually it's a couple days before. I guess this is a Friday, so maybe it'll be like on Tuesday or Wednesday when they're throwing prices around. I wouldn't be surprised if it opens 3x from whatever that is.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I was surprised with Cerberus. I thought maybe 2, but not 3. But you can't be surprised by anything when it comes to SpaceX. There's also the UFO ETF has been performing pretty well, so that gives you exposure to a bunch of the names in there. And that's been a nice bull run for sure. Great, of course, ETF name. Pretty simple. I don't know what's going on in small cap land though, because I feel like today, if you're a small cap trader, most of your gappers are just going to be quantum names, Sharif. So the question that becomes for that, it's like, which one? You got QBTS, you got QBT, you got Rigetti, you got they're just all over the place, and they all look pretty good there. So it's going to be a stock picker's dream, I suppose.
One here for me anyway, INFQ, trying to hold the volume weighted average price, but as you mentioned, they all kind of look the same. Whether you're looking at Rigetti or some of these QUBT, even GFS was moving up pretty aggressively on the news. That's actually a chip name. They're all pulling back into the volume weighted average price. So it looks like maybe, you know, buyers taking profits here. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on these, Neil. Let's see if they hang out into the aftermarket, Adara.
Yeah, quickly want to do some housekeeping here, guys. We do have some numbers at 8:30 a.m. Now, given all of the layoffs that have been announced recently, this number could be on watch here. Initial jobless claims forecast 210,000, prior print 211,000. You're also going to get housing starts, building permits, and the Philly Fed Business Index. Again, we've got about 15 minutes for that, but especially given the initial jobless claims, I wanted to mention it. While we have you guys here, though, we're going to mention this again, but worth noting, I want to get into the NVIDIA numbers a little bit more in depth here because NVDA had quite the quarter, though you would not be able to tell it by looking at this stock this morning.
Well, it's nothing surprising. We've seen this before. After earnings, it's basically what it does, and then we'll see what the weeks and days subsequent bring. Here's what I want to talk about, guys. We know NVIDIA, of course, as a GPU maker, but really underreported here was the strength of their CPU. It was always kind of looked like as a sideshow, right? Grace, Blackwell, Vera Rubin. You're always looking at the GPU rather than the CPU, but guess what? Nearly $20 billion in total CPU revenue this quarter for NVIDIA. So those combinations with the GPU and CPU are going to even be more important going into the future, as we've talked about, because of inference. Very CPU heavy. Let's also talk about the fact that they guided $91 billion and 0% of that $91 billion projects China revenue. What does that mean? That means even if they do get the H200 into the continent, they're not even projecting any realized revenue from that. So that could actually be, towards the lower end of the range, depending on how the geopolitics goes. Let's also talk about their sovereign AI footprint. 80% year-over-year increase in sales to sovereign AI. We always talk about the hyperscalers and how important these hyperscalers are. A big one right now is to look at governments and what they're doing. They also authorized another $80 billion of share buybacks. That essentially puts a price floor of sorts and helps, the stock price stay up. And Joey was talking about this yesterday with him and I on the midday show. He projected that they would actually increase the dividend. I argued back. I'm like, oh, they need all the cash they can get. They're expanding pretty aggressively. But guess what? They're increasing that dividend by 2,500%, up from 1 penny to 25 pennies. Not a bad look. And their networking segment continues to rocket. We've been talking about optics. We've been talking about fiber ops. Well, their networking segment, Adara, increased 199%, nearly tripling on the year, 14.8 billion. That's up actually 35% sequentially. So good look there. Last but not least, edge computing. What does that mean? That means basically if you're not a hyperscaler, you want 4, 5, 6 GPUs to run a small language model locally. That actually shot up as well, 29% year over year, and now they're bringing in $6.4 billion from that segment.
It's also interesting how they kind of split up their reporting style here. They now only have the 2 main categories, which of course could be like the data center and the edge computing. So getting rid of gaming as being one of the 2, or one of the 3 at that time, main reporting categories. I want to mention this story. We talked a lot about quantum names, but I'm seeing some people in the chat asking again, what's the quantum catalyst? Long story short here, we're seeing reports from the Wall Street Journal suggesting the U.S. government could be investing $2 billion across 9 quantum companies. It's going to be a combo of grants and minor equity stakes. Half of that, $1 billion, is set to go to IBM. Other recipients would include GFS, which we've talked about a couple times now, and also the likes of QBTS, Rigetti, and INFQ. So interesting look here for people wondering what the catalyst was in quantum. That is what it is.
Try to buy some more IBM a little lower than where it is right now. I'm trying to see, it's up 6%. This is NVIDIA here, here's IBM. So this is just, we talked about that this has been beat up, but the thing is about it too is I also have Rigetti written down here right now. And I wrote down 1850, so that maybe is going to be coming in soon. The 200 period, I just thought by the time the market opens up, maybe we would be in between this 18 to 1850 area. For Rigetti, we'll see if we can get some love off of that, now bouncing off of your 50-period moving average. Same kind of way for D-Wave, QBTS. Came right, I mean, part of me thinks that these calls are made when they're looking at technical levels and things like that, but I know that should have nothing to do with it. But there's D-Wave, again, coming right into the 50-period moving average, sort of forming out a little bit of a cup shape there, and then all of a sudden bouncing off of it one more time, back there to the upside. So I don't know if we're going to form a head and shoulders or what we're going to do right now, but that looks like right up to the 200-period moving average. We'll see if it can finally bust through there. And with this kind of a catalyst, I would say why not? So if you're long quantum names, I mean, up 15%, we talked about might want to take some off, but at the end of the day, this is a surprise. We didn't expect this, so we'll see if the Wall Street Journal is going to be accurate with their reporting. Yeah, look, I mean, the problem is, not only did NVIDIA beat the analyst numbers, they beat the whisper number, they beat absolutely everything yesterday. They get the dividend increase, they add to the they add to their buyback with $80 billion. So $80 billion buyback, you know, similar to something like Apple's trying to do with over $100 billion. So, you know, they're rewarding shareholders here. They're buying back their own stock. That's exactly what we want to hear. The story of AI is not even close to being over with. So, you know, trade with the best names, and I would just try to stay long. So I'm looking for NVIDIA to break through 225 here today in the pre-market. The main problem is, of course, Randy, is that Jensen was talking about they're almost throwing out the white flag now with China, saying that Huawei has really eaten all of that food. So we'll see if NVIDIA can finally get back into China, and if they are, not too late for that. I think that's part of what's, yeah, you think so? Yeah, okay, good. So Randy also thinks that hopefully they'll be back into China soon. And yeah, I didn't like to hear that as a shareholder, but you know what, man? Again, the buyback, the dividend, not that the dividend means anything, it's just we know that financially, these guys are very, very comfortable. They're not gonna, you know, have to raise or do anything crazy like that, obviously. So as we approach, you know, that $6 trillion mark, we got 530, 540, something like that, 5.4. We'll wait to see if it wants to go today. And I'm not shorting it. So that would be something that we'd have to really stay underneath VWAP and everything to be able to say to me that, hey, the sellers are in control here. I almost feel that if the Bears wanted this, and not the Bears want it down, but this was what happened on that when they got released, and then they realized, well, wait a second, and now we're just kind of hovering. I think you just sort of play the same game. The Nasdaq was up 1.5% yesterday. You know, there is going to be a little bit of a pullback in the space today. Chip names have been so super hot. We'll just have to wait to see what NVIDIA can do. But I just think the gross margins came in 75%. I mean, normally, when you've been in this game for so long, the margin numbers will decrease because other people will come in and try to, you know, squash those margins with pricing power and whatnot, right? But when you have Vera Rubin and you have some of these other chips that are coming to market that people are clearly waiting for, with the backlog, then you don't have that sort of a worry, right? AMD's already outperformed most people's expectations, most investors' expectations, and I probably even think Lisa Sue's as well. So AMD is already rocking, Intel's rocking, so I think it might be time for some of these names to cool off a little bit, and we can see NVIDIA once again sort of take control of the space. So a little bit of a boring market today in the chip space. For me, I liked what ARM was doing. Not just because I'm just recently in this name, but it's that breakout that's happened. It came back. We're just lucky to get filled there. We were literally waiting at 201. The low was like $200, and I know you were at 242 or something.
I had to move up to get in.
Yeah, and it just missed it. So, like, it just missed breaking lower. So the fact that we were able to hold out right there was great. And then there's the move higher, and then there's the break. Yesterday on ARM through 230 up to 240, and now today we get more continuation. So I actually have ARM written down at 255 for a buy.
I was glad with that one that it opted to trail the 10% instead of just sit in front of $250. So we'll see. That one continues to go, but it is kind of boring for NVIDIA. But there's been a pattern on NVIDIA where you've got let them do their thing and be underwhelmed and let it pull back for a little bit, and then try to pounce. Now, if you did the 3-day rule on the February move, like, it's just sort of, it gives you the easy 2 or 3 day pullback there. We've had some deep, eventually it got lower, but the initial bounce was just a couple of days. And I also like the 215 area for NVIDIA. If you just maybe look at it on a 15-minute a little bit, zoom it out a bit, you'll see this 215 that's sitting here, and it's not a long ways away. Really, like if NVIDIA were to give, 3%, that's not much. If we see that kind of sell action, I think it'll require some patience if we get really dipping. The names that I think have more room to go, if it like said, was like Intel, if it loses to 114, I think it's got room to go almost right to 110, and that's a lot of the work that was done yesterday into the 110 level to be able to close. Not yesterday, 2 days ago, and close into that 110. So I think you lose 14, you're down to that 110 a little bit faster. So that's what I'm looking at as the weaker of the names. I got to be able to respect the fact that if things just start breaking out and 14 holds, then this ends up more of a long than anything else. But I'll be looking over at Intel, and shout out to Omen. Thank you for the super chat. Morning market brief, May 21st, link to PDF broken. We'll have to look into it, but thanks for letting us know. We'll make sure we get that one fixed because it is up and running. But thank you for the super chat, and thank you for giving us the heads up there, Omen. Good movie, by the way. Have you seen the Omen movies?
No.
Like, if you're into, like, it's not a horror, it's more like thriller.
Okay.
Because it's like, I mean, it's not spoiler. They made some new ones.
Well.
They made some new ones which aren't, I don't think were that good.
I haven't watched a movie in a minute.
But basically, like, the reincarnate, like, the devil is born in a child.
Right.
And then there's people conspiring to make sure he rises to power.
Okay, so it's a movie about my kids. That's great. So I'm gonna have to watch that.
It's really good. The original's really good.
For that one there, yeah. Yes.
And Gregory Peck starred in the original. Like, it's a legit cast, the original.
100%. Shoot, the guy from, the guy that played Grant in Jurassic Park is in it when he's younger.
I have no idea.
We get spring rolls.
Yeah, the
like
spring
eggs,
rolls.
bacon, plus the spring rolls there.
I passed on the spring rolls.
We'll see.
All right, let's go back over the desk. 8:25, 8:26. We're supposed to have Raheem here. I don't know if he's coming.
I don't know if he's going to be through,
It's
but
in the calendar.
okay.
I can confirm we will be getting Raheem with us, so not to worry, guys. 8:26, we do have numbers as mentioned at 8:30, so we're going to take you through that. But in the meantime, I want to talk a couple auto names because we're going to talk Tesla during the rundown with that FSD catalyst. But STLA, actually, quite the move here. They have a new CEO or a fairly recent CEO here, and they're announcing a pretty big investment and strategic plan here.
Yeah, I don't have any information on Stellantis, but I can speak about NIO. So great quarter for NIO with revenue at 25.53 billion yuan. That's ahead of a little bit actually shy of the analyst expectations. Net loss, though, sharply narrowing. 496 million yuan they lost, but compare that to last year when they lost over $1 billion, in fact, and it was really helped by stronger deliveries and better margins. And the deliveries nearly doubling year over year, 83,465. And the weird part is the gross margins actually improved with higher deliveries. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the Chinese government has told their EV companies, stop this race to the bottom, stop undercutting one another. You're going to hurt yourselves. And we saw that here really reflected year over year. 7.6% was their margin last year. They brought home 19 this time. That's a fantastic look. Now let's talk about the guide. They're actually guiding markedly higher, 110,000 to 115,000 vehicles for the next quarter. And they're going to bring in substantially more revenue than they brought in the prior quarter, 32.78 to 34.44. That's implying an aggressive continued growth if it holds, Adara.
Yeah, interesting look there for NIO. I do want to go over the Stellantis story because it's a pretty interesting one, and this move definitely a lot larger, even in terms of volume, than what I was expecting. So basically, they're announcing a 5-year strategic plan. It's going to involve some investments valued at roughly $69.7 billion USD. So just over half of this is going to be spent on expanding their automobile portfolio and also improving their existing models. I was seeing something like they want to do 60 new models and then improve about 50 other models. So it's pretty massive here for STLA, and in that I know we don't discuss too much on this show, but I think it's certainly worth discussing today. So the other half, or just under half rather, of that roughly 70 billion USD is going to be reserved for new technology and global vehicle platforms. Now, given that they have a new CEO, as mentioned, interesting and pretty aggressive strategy here for Stellantis. They also said they're thinking they're going to be reaching positive free cash flow by fiscal 2028. So good look here for STLA. We are a couple minutes away here. I guess now at this point, a minute and a half away from those numbers. So I do want to go over once again what we're expecting from these numbers because we have a few. And I think, as mentioned, I was seeing some people talk about this on X. Initial jobless claims could be interesting because we know, Sharif, we've had a lot of layoffs as of late, and even just the announcements here from Intuit and Meta. Do you think we start seeing the impact on those jobless claims today?
I have no idea. We'll keep an eye out on that. We'll see if, this hot kind of low hire, low fire situation continues. Let's keep our ear to the news and see what happens, Adara.
Yeah, absolutely. I think some other numbers, though, that are coming out at 8:30. Building permits for April. Prior print here, 1.363 million. Housing starts for April, 1.52. By far here, the largest, though, is going to be these initial jobless claims. We are expecting, as of this point, interestingly enough, I think a slight decrease. So 210,000 is the forecast versus 211,000 expected. Again, just 40 seconds here until these numbers. So we are going to stay with you guys while we wait. I think also just in terms of housekeeping, earnings after the bell to remind you about. I know Webull has been mentioned for very good reasons. So we'll have to see if we bull or we bear on that report. TTWO Take-Two is also reporting after the bell. We're going to get earnings as well. from a couple other names of note. And do check out X2TV Research. I'm going to have some reminders of who's reporting as we wait. But Zoom is another one for sure, and especially given their Anthropic investment, which we've talked about a lot lately, those ZM earnings could be of note. But guys, 10 seconds away from initial jobless claims, building permits, housing starts, and Philly Fed business index. So bear with me as we wait these numbers. In 1 second, should have them at any moment now. You get housing starts, negative 2.8% here for the housing starts change. It's going to be I guess a little bit higher than the expectation of negative 5.1%. But these jobless claims, 209,000. So actually a slight improvement here. Again, forecast was 210,000. Prior was 211,000. We get 209,000. Building permits, 1.442 million versus 1.383 million expected. So higher than we were expecting. Housing starts also higher than expected. 1.465 million versus 1.419 million, and Philly Fed Business Index negative 0.4, sorry, well below estimates of 17.6. So lots of numbers, guys. Thank you for bearing with me as we go through those numbers. How are you guys doing over at that desk?
The numbers aren't doing too much there. It's not. It isn't not like this orange juice future market is popping off too much. We're still waiting for those hurricanes to hit Florida and everything like that. And of course, that's not expected. So
as long as Beeks is around to get in there and buy, then I think we're going to be fine.
As long as someone's getting in there and buying. I mean, they've been getting in there and buying oil recently. Oil's up another 2.7% right here today. So we give a big shout out to Raheem, who's now in the building. So that should be a fun one coming up with Adara momentarily.
Oil, just the numbers. These numbers aren't moving the market.
No.
And oil doesn't always move the market, but nat gas numbers, the last 2 weeks on Thursday when the numbers have come out, like you've actually seen some action. So I think that's worth watching. Like if you look at it, if you look at last Thursday, it was just very slowly trending down and then exploded and then trended for the rest of the session. And then if I go back, the Thursday before that, it was slowly trending down and then exploded. And this is on a 15-minute chart, so it was like straight up a half an hour and double the day's range. And it's done that a couple of times each of the Thursdays. So at 10:30, you're going to get nat gas, and if it starts with that kind of a breakout, I think it could be just a quick join. If it doesn't move, it doesn't move. That's the thing about an economic, reacting to an economic number. You don't have to. If it doesn't do anything, like right now, what is the SPY doing? Nothing. So you're not reacting to the jobless claims. No. But with that pattern that I see over there in nat gas, worth watching at 10:30, just in case you get a bit of a breakout. If I start to see it go, just going to try to get it in. And before we go up to
right now, look, it switched again.
It was the other way.
Yeah, yesterday we had a little bit of a ray of light of an interest rate cut for June. I just want to see if, I don't think anything's happening on the jobless numbers, but there it is, 99.3% chance of stay the same. And let's call it 1% chance of a rate hike right now, and then very similar. Looks like we're getting rate hikes in July, though, much closer, September. So yeah, this is not looking good. It looks like we are getting closer and closer to a rate hike. September, October, again, almost. I don't know, when is it going to be over there? It is. So December is where we're at 41% chance. So finally, December overtakes our current stance there.
That's even worse.
Potentially, yeah, it's starting to go this way instead of left. We'd rather it go the other way and see a little bit of a lower rate. So, the inflation watch is obviously real as we continue to watch out for that CPI coming through as well later on. But we have today, those three numbers, and then we have consumer, that's what we have, sorry, not CPI, PMIs today. S&P Composite PMI coming through at 945. So we'll see the composite and the services and the manufacturing PMIs all coming out today. There goes the market. So we're trying to take off a little bit. Maybe there was some sort of a news there because oil down about $1 right now, and the future is starting to pop just a little bit right now as well. So yeah, that should be a good, should be a relatively, I think it'll be a relatively quiet day, but the NASDAQ starting off down 0.4. It's battled back from these levels many times before. Yesterday was a monster day in the market, up another 1.5%. So
great day.
I guess it's ears to the ground to see if there's anything Trump related right now, but I'm not really seeing anything or hearing anything.
No, clearly something small happened in oil because it wasn't the number that moved us to the upside there. And we had a couple of super chats. I know we're going to have Raheem on. We'll make sure we get to them after the jump, but we are going to have Raheem just on there. Still hoping that we'll hear something in the ear with regards to that move in USO before you throw you guys to death. But again, we'll keep our ear to the ground there. It's not as if we don't get headlines to the left of them, to the right of them, and it's not that much of a move down. In context, USO, it's falling, but compared to what happened, compared to the move at like 6 a.m. when we basically ramped job $3-4 up, in a straight line for a few minutes. Not much of an action to the downside here. We're going to need to see more than that. You're still too close, too uncomfortably close to the 150. But what we had yesterday was a good, nice downtrend in USO. If we can get one of those, I think we'll be absolutely fine. But as stated, we got Raheem. You can see him, always well dressed and locked and loaded, and I believe ready to go with Adara.
Yeah, looks like it.
Very excited to have back with us today here of OCI Markets, Raheem Alani. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Of course, good morning.
Good morning. Lots to discuss. So I know you were at an event in the U.S. a couple of weeks ago. I believe you actually did a segment with us from said event. How did that go? Is there anything you want to discuss from that, I guess?
No, it was a great event, Select USA, so thank you to the American Embassy for including us in that. Got to spend some good time with the ambassador. We had an event with the Canadian ambassador as well, so you got to see a little bit of that kind of different takes on where they see the current state of the world. With CUSMA, or whichever way you want to call it, U.S., Canada, MCA. The agreement with what Mexico's doing, what Canada's supposed to be doing, and kind of where the Canadian priorities lie around energy, auto, dairy, mining. 1.5 of the 4 I know. So it's interesting to see the different takes that everyone's got and where priorities lie.
Yeah, and I think in terms of like, to maybe this is like a bit broad, but from a market standpoint, I know you mentioned like 1.5 of the 4 you're more familiar with, but are there any maybe sectors or avenues to look at this for traders to just be aware of as we continue to get these negotiations? Yeah,
that's a great question. And obviously in our capital markets world, what we do care about is capitalism, and that's where we all are. And so my, dereliction towards, I don't really know about the cheese industry out of Quebec. It's not my fault because there isn't really a ton of capital markets opportunities around that. Around auto, you understand that is a key role in the Canadian economy. But in reality, for us, for everyone here, energy and mining, energy and mining, energy and mining, and where do those levers sit with Canada with respect to the U.S.? Where can we push? Where can we pull? We being Canada, I guess, but where can the Americans push back? And so it's going to be really interesting to see because Mexico is conceding a lot of, they're agreeing to a lot of things. As we just talked off camera, I got to speak politically sometimes. Mexico is agreeing to certain things with the U.S. and Canada hasn't necessarily done that yet. So Canada does need to hurry up a bit on that end.
So are there any, I guess, concerns here, again, from a capital markets perspective? Should Canada, be a little bit slower, or should there not be an agreement by, I guess, a certain time, or rather agreements to agree, or things like that?
Yeah, no, Canada is definitely taking we're taking agreements to agree, and the U.S. is like, well, this is the agreement, kind of do what you got to do, and let's proceed. So we are, Canada, being a little slower on how they're proceeding, and I don't know if that's going over very well globally. But there are different initiatives being taken by the Canadian government into other countries as well. But our nearest partner is the U.S., and what they've always said is they like to have a wealthy partner and a wealthy neighbor. You don't want to have a poor neighbor, so the better Canada does, the better the U.S. will, in theory, do.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense here, too. And just to stay on this topic for a little bit more, I do have kind of one more question from this. I guess, are there any key words or key phrases from conversations about this that traders should be aware of that could be a bit of a tip-off, perhaps?
So it's a great question. So we were at a session with Secretary Lutnick, and I think I mentioned it last time I was on, is that the U.S. wants to move at Trump speed. And so things will be moving extremely quick. They want, if a decision's being taken, it's not going to be a decision to decide about a decision in kind of what Canada's doing. It's, okay, we've decided, we're moving, and let's go. So you're going to see a lot of things happen in very short order in terms of the duration of that decision. So if they decide we're going to do something, they're going to do it a lot faster. So I'm pleased to see that on any politician, and hopefully all the other countries can all figure out how to work together nicely.
That's a really good point, and thank you for addressing that, because it's something I'm legitimately curious about here. Let's talk about some of these new stocks that you're mentioning here. I pulled up one of them. I was trying to get this pulled up for us here. Baytex Energy Corp on the TSX, it's a daily chart. Yeah,
so I just want to look at a couple of these energy names because they are predominantly Canadian assets, Canadian owned, and they focus on some of the areas of Canada that are critically important into the energy infrastructure of the world. So you look at a name like Baytex, the stock, it's sitting, at 520 right now, and it's gone between, it's just off its 52-week high here. So there are Canadian energy names that are doing exceptionally well. The Q1 just came out on all these companies. So if you want to go back and look at some of the Q&A that came out during all of these Q1s, you can. And the next 3 months will be, again, important because they are looking at tightening their their cost basis on these things, and they're just getting better revenue numbers.
Awesome. I mean, that always, better revenue always sounds good.
Yeah, and again, with some of these, look at the dividend numbers for the investors that are out there that are curious about the dividend numbers. Keep an eye on those. Or normal course issuer bids, where they just, I say it all the time, if you love yourself, you buy yourself. And so they go out and they've already been buying a ton of their stock back.
Yeah, that phrase is a really good way of looking at it, actually. I want to mention as well here, another one that you have up here on the TSX, WCP Whitecap. This is a great daily chart.
Yeah, same thing. You know, it's up. You don't get to see up 100% in a mid-cap name. That doesn't happen very often, and that's one of those names that is, again, it's up 100%. It's off its 52-week high a little bit, but it is up 100%, and that's one of those names that does a dividend. So if you put that away, you're getting 5 to 6 cents a month that they're paying out just as, you know, being a shareholder.
There were a couple of names you mentioned a while ago. It says here 6 weeks ago that, let's revisit here. One of them is Kelt Exploration.
Yeah, just to kind of just dust our jackets off a little bit. 6 weeks ago, we did talk about a couple of these names, and they have, you know, again, getting to get up 15, 20% in a small cap name doesn't happen. Sorry, in a mid cap name doesn't happen very often. It happens in small caps where there is that larger delta, right, on the risk side. So Kelt, you know, it's got up to around $10 when we were on 6 weeks ago talking about energy and what was happening with the Strait of Hormuz and all of that. That name was down at 870, so I kind of wish I could buy the names that I talk about, because that'd be great. But hopefully some of our viewers were able to hop on.
Unfortunately, hindsight's 20/20 for some of that.
Yeah.
We'll take a look here, last but not least, at Cardinal Energy. Another, I mean, these charts look very similar here, just lots of strength.
Yeah, a lot of strength in these, again, in these mid-cap names. You know, their Q1 numbers have gone out. All of these guys are up year over year in terms of their production, their revenue numbers, the funds that they are able to generate. They put that into additional capex, some of them into dividends, some of them into normal course issuer bids. So you're seeing a lot of that balance sheet strength. Say that 10 times fast, coming into some of these names, and they're able to generate that better alpha on some of these stocks. So we're seeing that really good kind of daily chart on some of these. Now, again, if you're a profit taker, there might be some opportunities to profit take. If you see a bit of a dip, you can buy that in, because we still don't have a resolution into what's happening in the Middle East. So there's still going to be some strength in some of these Canadian-based energy names as we get into, you know, July 4th coming up and all the agreements that need to be in place. So these are names to take a look at, but yeah, there's definitely some trading opportunities around that.
Yeah, lots to think about. Thank you so much again here for a very full discussion. Raheem Alani of OCI.
Energy, and that's right. I mean, you look at some of
well.
those plays, and the Toronto market is just dominated, really, when you think about it. Like, energy is a very big portion of it. It's not very tech heavy when you look at the TSX or the Venture Exchange or the CSE here. Like, it's very much so energy the focus, and materials are the focus as well. And that even just looking at this simple uptrend in Kelt, one of the names that was brought by Raheem. But if we're looking across the board here at some of the pullbacks in the energy names, we got a pretty sizable dip yesterday, and you know, when I look at CVX here, obviously it broke that big uptrend, all that kind of good stuff, and was able to hold I call it three, but it's really like twice here at the 180 level. A retest, I don't think would be that good. When I look at this, holding a higher low and holding that 50 period could be that next leg up, because it's a good place, that 180, to buy. And a lot of what you're doing when you're looking at the energy space is maybe like a reset, because if you had a couple of things. You had the Venezuela event, which got that initial pop, and that was a while ago. But now when you make a pretty big breakout, and I want to look at a monthly. Monthly is going to be better in this case. When you get a bit of a breakout, you start to reset. Like, the stock was in a long consolidation for a couple of years, right? Like 130 into that 180, and now you're making the break. You want to see that the prior high get held and then consolidate higher for another potential leg up. But you're in new territory, and as long as even if things were to end tomorrow, you still wouldn't be like, these guys are good if oil's at 75, 80. Let alone where it is now. So even if the war to end tomorrow, they're still going to look pretty bullish. And you look at the overall trend and where we're starting to set in, yeah, that 180 is going to be key to hold for a name like Chevron. Like, you do the same thing with XOM. You'd just be changing the numbers around for some of the traditional ones. But again, breakout, and now you're trying to form a new level. Long consolidations get pretty interesting when they finally break, and that's what you were already doing in a lot of these energy names.
Here's the TSX right here, and you can see how energy dependent it is. I mean, the last 6 months, I don't, you probably can't see, but there it is, 14% in the last 6 months. Year to date, 7.3%. So we've really started to rally up a little bit. 1 year performance, 31.6%. So the TSX continues to hit highs. So 34.3, yes, of course, Andre. 34.7, 34.5. So it looks like we're trying to break right now through the all-time highs of the TSX as well. So we talked about names like Shopify not doing so hot, and some of the tech names over here. Although Hut has been a good one. It's not all about tech, obviously, here in Canada. In the United States, completely different model. As you see, all the big tech companies are United States. Here in Canada, we continue to go upside on gold, on silver, mining, energy names, and there's a TSX right now. So yeah, definitely not as not as interesting maybe as the Nasdaq on some of these return numbers, but yeah, so far so good. 14%, 6 months. It's been a good run. We'll just wait to see if it can continue to hold it, which I don't see why it wouldn't be able to. So Canada right now cruising to the upside. That's not what our economy is all about. But we did talk about those are completely different things, as you guys know in the United States as well, right? I mean, if you're not invested in the market, it's been a tough go for sure. We talked about living paycheck to paycheck, and something very similar, obviously here in Canada as well. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening. This Iran war, I mean, I don't know. I was watching yesterday. It was supposed to be a couple days back in April. Then it was supposed to be a couple more days back in May, and now it's May 21st. So I think this energy play continues to grow, and unfortunately, with summertime coming up, you're going to start to have summer demand on oil and gas and the travel names, and it's going to be a tough go for people to start traveling around. A lot of people making those summer vacation plans now going to have to add a couple more zeros maybe to their expectation of gas pricing and whatnot. So it's kind of it sucks because a lot of people maybe aren't invested, so you don't get those returns in the portfolio.
Benefit,
yeah, so it's like, that's why ZEO has been a big one, XLE as well. I've been two names that I've been into. ZEO is a Toronto oil ETF and gas as well. So, all right, Joe's at the screen. I think it's options time, although I don't see.
Oh, I think he's doing it from the desk.
Oh, he's doing it from the desk today. Okay, I was going to say, I was looking at the screen. I was like, that's not Joe over there at the screen. That's Sharif sitting right there. So, all right, Joe at his desk with options.
A little technical difficulties at the screen, guys. That's all right. We'll figure things out. First things first, before we get into any of the talk here, we're going to discuss a little bit about what happened with NVDA's earnings report last night. Now, we didn't exceed the expected move, and the options market is obviously derived from volatility, intrinsic, extrinsic value. But what we really need to focus on here is the fact that we didn't beat, right? I mean, the expected move, the implied move. So you have to be prepared to get out of your options contract if you purchase them days before the report, just due to volatility decay, all right? So you'll get that IV crush. The chances of it exceeding at this point are relatively low. So unless you're willing to lose the full amount of premium, and by the time the open happens, you will see a drastic decline in some of your options contracting. So just be prepared to get out and not hold on to some of those calls, all right? Or puts if you're holding them. Now, let's get into some of the activity. We'll talk about NVDA once again here, and then we'll get into some of the analyst actions shortly after. Now, as for Tesla, guys, we're going to be looking at this $430 marker. As we start to sell here a bit today, we can see these supply zones really starting to come into play. So $430, we're going to be looking at 13,000 contracts, 13,500 contracts still currently open in volume. Open and closed on yesterday's session, 33,600. Now, NVDA, we've been talking about this throughout the whole week. Strike price 225, and you can see within the pre-market, we've had the inability to breach and hold this 225 level. So we're going to look at this supply zone of 42,100 contracts as somewhat of a resistance and a call wall. Okay, I thought we'd have the ability to absorb through that. Hasn't been the case. We didn't exceed that expected move, and we didn't get that squeeze type price action. Now, as for the volume, 116,000 contracts opened and closed on yesterday's session leading into the report. And then we also have Microsoft at that $430 marker, 10,400 contracts still open there. All of these are going to be expiring this Friday with volume around 13,800 open and closed on yesterday's session. Now, as for some more underlyings that were on the slide yesterday, we're going to be taking a look at Google. This $380 mark, once again, we're all going to be expiring tomorrow. Volume at that $380 mark are sitting around 4,970 and open interest around 3,970. Now, as for Bitcoin $41 marker, acting as some form of a base here, what I'm thinking, open interest 21,600 and volume relatively light with 2,201 contracts. So let's see if we can hold up at that $41 level. If not, there might be some more potential downside. Now, as for Meta, same narrative. We're going to be looking for a base here and where we can find somewhat of a bounce. $600. We have 3,940 contracts open and closed yesterday, and then the open interest sitting around 3,770. All right, moving forward, we're going to take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. ALF up, but B of A reducing its price target from $93 to $85, still up 8% here today. INTU, guys, Intuit, down 14.4%. Price reduced from stifled from $500 to $375, still holding that buy rating, but lows to the downside as well, too, guys. $295 target, lowered to $280 by Telsey Advisory Group. And then we have Hasbro also reported yesterday, guys. You're down 0.4%, but an equal weight rating, but reducing its price target from $98 to $92 at Wells Fargo. Moving forward, let's take a look at some of the upgrades and some more positive things. What we do is Wedbush, the tech bull, Danny Ives and company increasing their price target on NVDA from $300 to $333. So that's, a 33% move from where we're currently sitting at right now. TJX, you're down 0.7%, a little bit more, going with that outperform rating, increasing its price target from $172 to $175. Now, Target, also with a neutral weight, but increasing its target from $125 to $135. And then Urban Outfitters, so a lot of retail names on here today, guys. You're down 0.25% buy rating holding, but B of A increasing its price target from $85 to $90, guys. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Thank you, Joe. Heck of a day for TJX. Heck of a day for them. Cleared out the 50, bounced the 200, cleared out the 50, and looks like an all systems go move to the upside. That ELF one, ELF with the price target downgrade, but it's still at a buy, and it's making a bit of a comeback, up 8% today. That could be worth watching. But TJX is able to hold that 50 SMA. You'd say give it the 3-day rule, right? So that will probably take us into Monday. If it's still out and about and above this chop zone, it's got a leg to the highs there. And it's so distinct. What was the discussion we were talking about in the retail space, right? You've got such obvious winners and losers when you just pull up the chart. Yep. It's not a lot of in between. And then we were talking about this with the auto names, when we had Stellantis up. And then you looked at a chart of Stellantis, and you have a look at Ford and GM, and you're like, whoa. Just so distinctly different, where it's not that, you don't have to guess in a case like that. Stellantis nasty, GM and Ford looking very good. But I think a similar thing here for TJX. Discounter, so maybe a bit better insulated for any economic downturn, let's just say, or because I think we are in an environment where there is legitimate recession concern. And if you're not putting that into your back of your mind, then I don't know what we're paying attention to. And the bond market's not been liking things for a while. Certainly the cost of living going up is not helping things at all. And people keep throwing around stagflation. That could be a bit extreme, but some say that's a real big problem. And you have to start considering it for sure. The NVIDIA upgrade is, it's par for the course. When was the last time there wasn't an upgrade after NVIDIA reported?
Yeah, there's nothing to dislike about the report. I'd be surprised if there was a downgrade. And we talked about yesterday, some of the winners possibly of this event yesterday. It doesn't look like NVIDIA is going to be too big of a winner. I think investors have won, because I don't think NVIDIA gave us anything to worry about moving forward. So anybody invested into NVIDIA is going to be a winner there. But looks like Nebius right here, talk about a winner. Microsoft early investor into Nebius. You can see right here, starting to blast up through, their all-time highs again right now, up 11%. I thought I heard some sort of news about, oh, there it is right there. Yep. Nebius stock gets double boost overnight from cloud price buzz hike and NVIDIA outlooks. There might have been something else as well, but.
BE partnership.
Yeah, what was it?
BE Bloom.
Oh, Bloom. Yeah, that was last night, actually. Yeah, you're right. So last night we heard about that popping through. That was after hours. It didn't really do too much. I remember we actually talked about that before the NVIDIA earnings came through. But there it goes right now. And then BE, Bloom Energy. I know Shrie's been all over this, and that's been a huge trade, so congratulations on that one. It's Bloom Energy right now going to get right back into these levels as well. Wow, they had a nice little dip by. Actually, I remember when this was going down, we were looking at it and thinking like, was it going to fill that gap? It did not. Well, it filled it and held it, and then now bouncing back off of that. So the next gap level that you're worried about is all the way down here at 180, which, we didn't even hit that one. So, 250 back up to the upside there for BE. Bloom Energy continues to rock and roll. Today's story is going to be about everything related to AI, I feel like, especially with these stories. We've got quantum, that's, an AI kind of base as well. I'm bidding IBM. We'll see if we can get something around 232. I tried to put a bid in here. I'm using the IBM on the Canadian side, so this is just, again, not much volume, but we'll trade exactly the same. So I was kind of trying to do the math about where this one will open up at. This was $33, so I was sort of 35. We'll see if it can get there. That's a
6.5
price.
or something.
Yeah,
7.
I don't necessarily know if we want to step in and buy. It's a Wall Street Journal report here today, and we're going to talk about it. The rundown is going to be obviously coming up very, very soon. But there's Rigetti. So I wrote down actually. And I'm put this out too. I want to hear what people also have to think about. What are you guys looking at to trade? So we'll get some of those responses in just a couple minutes. But there's Rigetti, 18 to 1850 on the note. NVIDIA, ARM, Rigetti today are the three names that I'm looking at. NVIDIA breaking its pre-market high, ARM pulling back a little bit to 255. We'll adjust those levels as we go. We have to write this sticky note around 8 a.m. because we've got the show to do, and then we want to put it out. So, and there's Rigetti, 18 to 1850, and I kind of just made those levels up because that's where I thought the 200 period might be by the time we open up. So we're getting pretty close into that right now, 1830. So, these are not exact price levels. Let's wait to see if Rigetti does have this move back in. But we are going to talk all about quantum right now. And yeah, we have a super chat, I remember.
Yeah, we have a super chat here from Sunny. Appreciate you being patient with us here, fixing some things here. Mind covering the move out of APLD today? Well, Applied Digital, they're up because they announced a long-term lease agreement with the U.S. based high investment grade hyperscaler, and it's 10% for now. In terms of gappers, it's doing pretty much the best thing you could look for if it's just consolidating, which is consolidating over VWAP, over the overnight highs or the afternoon highs. And there's a little bit of a runway to this top here at 47. It's like a U shape. A little U shape, and then you have the consolidation. So this sets up as it needs to be a breakout because of that tight consolidation, and then a breakout kind of gets you into here at 46 and then the 47 level. But if it can't hold over 44, like that's pretty dangerous one there. So it's a good consolidation, but that's not one you want to join a breakout trade if it starts to go. You don't want to be guessing because the other direction is just as big of a gap here, and you've already seen it fill. Look at its price area. Like it's filled the gap upside from 40, and then downside from 45, and then downside through here back in. Then the breakout that you get on the news through that 40 even. So I'd be careful with that one. It's pretty priced so close to the high, but you do need it to break that 44, and it's about a 1.5, almost 2. Actually, not almost 2% from getting that breakout there on APLD.
Back to the desk.
Yeah, I guess here it's 8:58 a.m. I quickly want to mention AMD here before we get to the rundown. We're going to talk about NVIDIA earnings, of course, during that rundown. But AMD kind of announcing a competing product here, that Ryzen.
Yeah, this is what we call edge computing, guys. And it's basically if you want to run a small large language model or a small language model locally, 2, 3, 4 of these should suffice. It's a direct competitor, obviously, to NVIDIA. It had this separate headline as well. As they look to invest about $10 billion into TSMC's manufacturing in Taiwan, specifically, it's going to be for the next-gen EPYC server processor named Venice. And it's going to be using Taiwan Semi's 2-nanometer technology. Now, we heard yesterday that Taiwan Semi is on the way to the 1 nanometer, believe it or not. But analysts also maintaining a buy rating on this one. with, I'm not sure exactly which one here, it doesn't really say, but $446 average price target. And it looks like AMD starting red here in the morning, Adara.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see if they can recover. We're going to talk about NVDA, of course, you know, the big honcho, for lack of a better term, in the chip space in just a minute when we get to that rundown. But let's talk about futures first.
Yeah, 741.25 is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. We're below that right now. In fact, we're below 740, which is the area we spoke about yesterday as that key area of technical resistance. So it feels like we're in a bit of a consolidative mode right now, perhaps maybe waiting for the belligerencies in the Middle East to seize. So here's what we're going to say. We're going to say 740 is going to be our critical area that we're looking for resistance. If we continue to clear that, we're looking to the next $5 level, 745. Recall 750 area is the all-time high. If we sell off Adara, we're looking to 735 as support.
Make sure to sign up for our Trader TV Live watch list. It is absolutely free. It comes right to your inbox every morning that the market is open. We'll talk about earnings. We'll talk about events that happened, events that are about to happen, any kind of economic data or Fed speak that you need to be aware of. If it has to do with the markets, the U.S. market specifically, it'll probably be in that watch list. So please check it out, guys. Again, it is free. And one name that was at the top of the watch list today, I think on a lot of people's personal watch lists and minds, is NVDA after another record quarter.
It is a record quarter. Let's talk about this because there's a whole lot to discuss. As we spoke about to start the show, CPU, a very underappreciated segment now for NVIDIA. We always looked at the Vera Rubin sort of tie-up or the Grace Blackwell. You know, the CPU is a little sideshow to the main big player here, which is GPU. But that sideshow now is bringing in $20 billion in annual revenue. I'm talking about CPUs, of course. And that $91 billion guide for the next quarter includes $0 projected from China. Of course, we know that that H200 is still not being used by some of these Chinese tech companies, despite getting the authorization from the Commerce Department. It is more of a Chinese regulator problem there. And then the sovereign AI expansion, they're expanding their total addressable market quite aggressively. We always talk about their tie-up with hyperscalers. Now we need to talk about their tie-up with national governments. We also have an $80 billion share buyback. That helps put a price floor on some of the price action with a 2,500% increase in the dividend, going up from 1 penny to 25 pennies. The dividend aristocrats, Joey, may like that. We also got basically a 200% increase in their networking division. Now, we've seen aggressive moves in companies like Lumentum as well as Marvell really take off as a result of their networking and their optics division. NVIDIA doing it internally here, looking to undercut them, a 200% boom there. And last but not least, I spoke about this at the beginning, the edge computing here, bringing in about $6.4 billion in revenue. That was a 29% year-over-year increase.
Yeah, just so you guys know, I'm seeing a spike here in MSFT. Anthropic reportedly in talks to use Microsoft's AI chips. Again, guys, the information reporting that Anthropic is in talks to use Microsoft's AI chip. Clearly, the market likes this news. Back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Marvell getting a pop on that as well. So Marvell up 3 points on this. Microsoft was up at 430. 31, 32, it looks like, at the highs. Pullback and now sort of sitting in the middle of the range. So good move there for Softy. This could be, is this going to be the catalyst? Is this the moment where Microsoft can finally get going and break out of this malaise? If this gets and holds above 430, like look at where the top was, that 432, it's been sellers in this range for the last month on Microsoft. You chew through that and this can fly finally. So there's your headline. Anthropic in talks to use Microsoft AI chips. From the information, it's, well, you know, these headlines have never been unreliable. You know what? It's a big spike up. I feel like this time in the pre-market that can be a dangerous chase, everybody. But you know what? If you find yourself like the rest of us around here and trying to constantly keep up with the markets, Gemini Predictions allows you to trade what you think is going to happen next. So if you think the market's dump after inflation data, you can express that view instead of just watching it happen. The app is very easy to use, as we've been liking the automated oil markets recently with all the volatility that you're seeing in the oil market. Start trading it now, and you can do that by heading to gemini.com/TraderTV or scan the QR code on the screen in front of you. Bitcoin at 12 p.m. Eastern today. I don't know. You know what? If I was going to predict where
So
Bitcoin's
funny
going
that
to be
you
at
can
12,
predict those things.
I would say wherever it is right now because it's in an inside range. That's the first thing I think about. But no, this Microsoft, we close over 430 today, and that gets pretty bullish for Softy here. And that's exactly the kind of, you don't know what catalyst is gonna catch this to finally catch up with the rest of the market after they've been getting it's the software IGV downward trend. We know what can happen when people stop being scared of that, right? We saw this play out with the cybersecurity names. The second everyone was like, we're done with that, and we're buying them again, that's what CrowdStrike did. Now, I'm not saying Microsoft would do what CrowdStrike did. Like, that's probably almost impossible to happen at their size, right? Like, it's just not gonna happen at Microsoft size. But if we get above here, you can be at the 200 in a couple of days. I think that would be pretty reasonable. So a good start for Softy. We'd love to hear some further confirmation of the story down the line. The last thing you want is for this to get walked back, because that would have trapped some longs.
Yeah, Marvell also, Neil just mentioned that was up 4% or so as well. That just went to 194 new all-time highs for Marvell. Again, still long in the 60s on this name. This name has gone absolutely parabolic. I don't even know what to do anymore. Microsoft is, yes, pulling back just a little bit. But yeah, I think you're right, man. The minute that the tides turn on from going from a problem to dealing with Anthropic now and OpenAI and their server side, Azure starting to get some love there apparently as well. There it is right there, yeah, to use Microsoft's AI chips, so there we go. Anthropic, again, biggest investor, Amazon, second biggest investor, Google. Now, obviously, Microsoft entering the building with some business deals there as well. Well, meanwhile, NVIDIA is going to the downside. I mean, scratch what I had wrote down. We're going to look very, very soon to see what some of your ideas were. I've been posting it in the chat there to get you guys to let me know what you guys are up to. But right now, NVIDIA, I wrote down 225. Let's see if we could break through this pre-market level right here of 225. And then, even yesterday, we couldn't really get through it despite, waiting for earnings. And even when earnings popped up, the most we got to was 227, then it got faded. And now this is definitely downside. So I'm going to wait on this play. I'm not catching that falling knife. We could see 215, 216. That's where we bounce. I don't feel like it's any reason to be sitting anywhere on an earnings play. This name could be down 4 or 5%. We just don't know what. We got a couple upgrades today. And the fact is they beat everything all over the place. They beat the whisper number. They gave you the dividend that you wanted. They gave you a buyback that I don't think many expected, up to $80 billion. But yet we're still going to the south side. So if anything, I think it was, I don't know if it was Dane or somebody here I was asking you guys to think about what you guys were going to trade. And the response here was it you, Dane? Someone, it was up here. You had mentioned, here it was, I'm bearish today, expecting response to the Iran uranium stuff, so more scalping, trading the Qs, right? So I was saying that we got to wait to see what the big dog does here before we short, but NVIDIA is barking. So I had written that down. I'm going to get, there's Pops Mafia. What's up, Pops Mafia? I'll comment on some of these if I get a second. It's 9:07 right now. I'll see if I can do that. But so if the market continues to look at NVIDIA, then maybe we are going to be in for a short right now. The NASDAQ is starting to go a little lower. And as Microsoft shares continue to spike, that should be, I don't know if that's exactly affecting NVIDIA. I'm not really sure why. Again, AI chips, they're going to be looking at Microsoft. Maybe they stop looking at NVIDIA. I could see that happening. But there goes Microsoft. This is probably the one to trade now, trying to break through some very, very key levels here. I was just hearing in my ear something about Marvell, but I'm not really hearing what. Wow. Holy crap. I remember when Marvell was like that $100 mark, and I was like, oh my God, SoftBank, are you guys going to buy this name or what at this $100 mark? And when we were long, and I got some out when this had happened right into this level there. That's been a big mistake. Marvell doesn't even really have any pullback opportunities there. Once there, and bang. And I guess at the beginning of this week, you're up to 167. They got a price target upgrade apparently, but it's from Citigroup earlier. I don't know what's going on right now with Marvell. But yeah, the space is, we're going to talk about quantum in a minute. So I was going to go right to IBM. But all right, there goes Marvell. There goes Microsoft. There goes NVIDIA to the low side. AMD's down 2% and Intel's down 2%. It's not a great day to start with for chip names. I do still think we want to buy the dips. And NVIDIA didn't tell us anything we don't want to hear.
Oh, you know what you got to remember? NVIDIA, if NVIDIA beat and went down, they're flat. I mean, it's only down 1%. We were talking more the expected move. They were going to be about a 25 PE. So if things get bad, you're getting NVIDIA at 25 times earnings in a couple of days. I think that's something when you look for the dip buy to consider. But quantum definitely in pay as the U.S. government handing out cash, it seems.
Indeed, they are, Neil. We'll get to that in a minute. But Marvell, Sean, I did look into this because I know they are sometimes associated with these chip-related moves. So apparently going back to about February, analysts were saying that this company, as well as Broadcom, which isn't moving on this, could have a role in Microsoft's Maya AI chip. Now, apparently the chips that Anthropic is trying to make this deal with Microsoft, they're the Maya chips. So MRVL is definitely moving up here, at least as far as I can tell and as far as people are seeing, on sympathy with this MSFT story. Again, guys, if you missed it, the information reporting here that Microsoft could be getting some business here from Anthropic. They're already apparently increasing their rentals of Microsoft's Azure servers. But let's talk here about quantum, because as mentioned here, a big deal from the U.S. government, specifically benefiting, I think, the most here, IBM, but a couple other companies.
$2 billion in CHIPS Act funding, guys, is going to be going out to some of these quantum names. But this is not just the standard government rollout here and grants. They're taking equity stakes, much like we saw with MP, much like we saw with Intel. In fact, you've got D-Wave, just by way of example here, which is issuing $100 million in common stock directly to the Department of Commerce. Now, IBM is taking a bit of a different twist here. They've actually, they created a new company, basically called Andron. It's a brand new standalone corporate entity, and IBM is going to spin it off. It's going to be based in Albany, and they're going to issue common shares from that company. So you're not going to get dilution if you're an IBM shareholder. That's going to be a separate company. But why are they doing this all of a sudden? And according to some of the reports here, that the catalyst for this sudden aggressive federal urgency is a classified cybersecurity panic. A security brief circulated alongside the deal highlights while platforms like Coinbase, specifically here, are largely quantum resilient, about 85% of the Bitcoin on foreign exchange platforms like Binance, for example, currently sit in what they call quantum exposed outputs. We've been talking a lot about how quantum could hurt some of the cybersecurity companies, as well as just regular cybersecurity for corporations. But specifically here, it seems to be the Bitcoin angle that's really creating this urgency. So we'll see how this all works out.
Yeah, lots to look at here, different ways to play this. How are you guys looking to potentially play this quantum story?
The first thing I think is to keep it simple. The U.S. government wants to make sure that if there's big breakthroughs, it's going to be one of these American companies, and they'll be at the forefront of it. So what they want, and the thing, and remember, some of these might end up being nothing, and others could be, like, maybe not an IBM, but certainly, like, Rigetti could be a 10X, and QBTS, and they could all have significant breakthroughs, but they've got to get there first. IBM, more stable, good name, own the name, like it. I think their approach is a smart one. Like, they don't have to dilute, so why do they need to? I don't know if that's the one I want to trade today. I'm looking at QBTS. These charts are going to look very similar. They all gapped up, consolidated a little bit lower, and are breaking down a little bit right now. But I look at D-Wave, very similar, gap up, been trending down underneath that volume-weighted average price. It's got a nice W-ish pattern, or whatever you want to call that. There's always the chance that we can break that shoulder. You can also call it a head and shoulder here at 23. But as we get away from the shoulder, you're now $1.20 away from that resistance, it starts to get really appealing back into this rounded bottom level at 20.5. I'm just going to look for trend reversion here. I like the 20.5. 21 gives you a level as well. If you're into it. So just down in there for a mean reversion on QBTS. I own shares of QBTS, but it's up percentage-wise really well. Oh, the other thing, too, is just when you're trading at real trading, of the quantum names, like the small cap ones or smaller ones, this one we never have to pay for locate. So you never have to worry about hitting the offer key and getting rejected if you want. Not that I'm looking to go short, but this one's always free. Whereas you almost have to pay for Rigetti, I believe, and I think you have to pay for IonQ.
Yeah, I have RGTI. I have it written down here. It's on the note. This is going to be the one name that I'm going to look at. I mean, just because I can't look at them all. So I'm just going to look at Rigetti. There it is right there, 18 to 1850. So we are coming back in right now. There's your 200 period moving average. We've got to give it a little bit of room. I mean, it's up 13% now. It is a Wall Street Journal report. Obviously, we're expecting that to be, truth. So if Rigetti does fall back in, this is going to be a name that I'm going to look at. Just as Neil mentioned, there still is that short float, so good potential for a pop right there. It got as high as 1960. You're almost back in $1. So I think that that's going to be a good little level to look at, this 200 period moving average on Rigetti. And then for just going to try to add to the long-term portfolio here on IBM. I mean, we talked about so many names that have been beat up. This is about a 4 to 5% dividend, and really like the space. You talk about getting excited for NVIDIA's buyback and their dividend. Well, IBM already has all that and more. So yeah, let's wait to see. I still believe in quantum a lot. I mean, I've been into quantum for a long time. I don't have any D-Wave or Rigetti or anything like that, but been really hoping that IBM would be able to go, and been talking about quantum with Google as well. And so yeah, we'll wait to see if this one wants to go. Apparently they were getting half of the 2 billion, so 1 billion into IBM. And they're not sure if it's an equity stake in a company or what exactly all this means. So I guess we'll wait to hear. But yeah, we were definitely thinking of a pullback here on IBM, and it looks like that's what's happening right now. So yeah, I have a bid in the longer term portfolio waiting for a little bit more of a dip down in. I'll let you know if we get filled. But yeah, so far so good on the quantum. And let's just check in on NVIDIA just quickly here, because I wanted to make sure that that was all. Yeah, so this is not, has kind of stopped moving around. And then, of course, the big news that we're all going to be focusing on early today, it looks like, is going to be Microsoft with Anthropic kicking tires now on them. And then Marvell, of course, as thanks for Adara clarifying here, as Marvell, the components, helping out with Microsoft there, and more business for Microsoft should be more business for Marvell. So here's a nice little upside spike as we get new all-time highs on MRVL. Always looking back and saying, why don't we just dump the boat into this name? But a little bit of confidence goes a long way, and did not really think that this would be where this is right now. So Marvell, huge upside move there, and it just keeps on going. So we'll have to watch out for Marvell. What about $200 coming in for that one? SpaceX coming in a couple weeks, man. I mean, there's going to be so much excitement for so many new names. I'm just wondering if some of these names right now that are getting pumped up might get pushed to the side in the next couple of weeks, but it doesn't really look like it with NVIDIA earnings. And then we still have Broadcom too, so there's still lots to come out. All right, Walmart, there we go. From AI talk and all these chips and all that stuff to actual chips.
Boring
and
retail,
dip.
yeah.
Yeah, let's go over to retail and see if we're buying some Lay's chips.
There was another chip story here, guys. It's not moving too much, but just letting you guys know, Intel announced something called SuperClaw, design here for AI PCs, aging computers, edge devices. The market does not seem to be super into SuperClaw. But Walmart here, big sell-off for this name on kind of a mixed report, especially with guidance concerns here.
Guidance was the issue, with 250 basis points eating into the forward guide as a result of oil, essentially geopolitical tendencies, which Walmart actually chose to entirely absorb. They didn't pass on any of that to the consumer, and as a result, weaker forward guide. Let's talk about their digital-led comps, though. So the comparable sales climbed a healthy 4.1% year over year, but when you actually do a little digging, the majority of that 4.1% was really buoyed by a 26% bump in their global e-commerce sales. So e-commerce continues to boom for Walmart as a direct competitor to Amazon, and in addition to that, obviously, they have the same day, and now looking to even do even quicker 2-hour, 3-hour delivery. So we'll keep an eye on that. And they had basically 11% in their premium glove growth. So you see critics basically looking at retail fatigue, saying the consumer's getting weak, this, that, and the other. However, Sam's Club membership and other miscellaneous income jumped 11%, backed by a 23% explosion in its own dedicated e-commerce delivery option. So bad report for the guide, but some good silver linings here, Dara.
Is Walmart in your guys' shopping cart today in terms of stocks to trade?
Ooh, in the shopping cart. Maybe not for today, but you know what? I secretly wouldn't mind if Walmart pulled back more than this. Every time it's tagged or come close to the 50 on the weekly, that's been a good spot to accumulate. It's a pretty good uptrend, but it's also expensive. So when they have concerns and they're an expensive stock, you got to be a little bit concerned in the short term as well. It's been all, like the last, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, whatever it is, have all been slightly upside. So yeah, a pullback seems like it makes sense to me. Anywhere close to the teens, and to me, Walmart's going to be a buy. So I'm not touching it today, but if we do, we're trading, just so you know, this is including the pre-market when I look at this weekly chart, we're trading in here at 125. So just a couple more legs down, and this thing is a buy right around those mid-teens, mid-1, 115 area. for Walmart. Long term, wouldn't be concerned with them whatsoever. But it's a bit pricey up here. It's due for a pullback.
Yeah, no, I was just looking at what Target's doing. Target's PE is 15, Walmart's is 48. So I was just going to say, like, you know, if you like the retail space, I think we know where you'd rather be if you're looking for value. It's not in Walmart. Walmart down 4% now. It's at all-time high PEs, you know, and now it's getting trimmed out a little bit. We've seen the same thing sort of happen with our good friend Palantir, and there it goes to the downside. Look, Walmart was just at highs 2 days ago. So, you know, one report comes out and it's like, oh my God, there's a couple cracks in the armor, which there is. You know, not guiding lower than expectations is not great there. So that's not, you know, and remember the stock market is future looking, it's forward looking. They don't really care. Whatever has just happened has just happened, so they'll get hit for that. But then when you're guiding lower, you know, I still think a lot lower than this is coming. I would say this 117, 118, 119, like in and around that area is maybe when you buy it. Unfortunately, I'll have to go over to the bigger chart here to see where, oh yeah, the 200 period's at 115. We still have a ways to go to get into some sort of a buy zone. And that's basically right where we were looking in the past. So I know Neil called a bigger chart up there. But yeah, I think this 114, 115, 116. Let's get this another 10% down on WMT, and then maybe it's a buy. And remember, like we talk about this, man, it's the price at the pump. It's where are the consumers spending all their money? Are they cutting back in certain spots because of the energy bills and because of the worry now of interest rates possibly not going anywhere lower? I could see Walmart getting hit and continuing to make those kind of moves. And just so I just talked about Target being a third of the valuation on a PE basis. Target also yesterday, you know, was close to these highs again. We made it up there in the pre-market, and then it just got washed all day before eventually trying to catch a little bit of a bid late, right? We had some of this move in Target yesterday at the end of the day, but, you know, still falling off, well off of those highs from yesterday. So this is what happened yesterday during the conference call. This is what happened when Target opened up. So we'll have to wait to see if Walmart has a very similar fade here on their opening bell, right? I mean, it's leveling off right now a little bit here between 125 and 126, but I could definitely see a continued push down for Walmart. Will Walmart actually be down 6% today? Maybe not. So we'll have to wait to see when there's a buying opportunity. Wait for it to break back through the 25-period moving average, and then we'll start to hit it. It's 922. INTU, man, the software names continue to struggle on their earnings reports, but they've had opportunities to bounce back, you know, and we've seen it already today with Microsoft. We saw it with Salesforce. The last couple of days, ServiceNow has been battling back as well. Some of the other names, PanW, CrowdStrike, in different spaces, but again, software as service. So let's go back over, find out about Intuit, and know that we filed with TurboTax.
Mixed earnings here for INTU, but really strong guidance. They also, though, announced some layoffs, which were previously reported but now confirmed, and investors were not into it, Sharif.
$8.56 billion in revenue, beating $8.54 with EPS coming in at $12.80 ahead of the $12.57. The bigger headline was what you mentioned, their 17% workforce reduction, and they're insisting this has nothing to do with AI. They're saying it's going to be organizational efficiency and execution, but the market not really buying that, especially with the threat already in the software space that AI is going to be disruptive to this space. So the market taking a bit of a different view.
Yeah, are you guys into it today for a trade or for longer term?
Long term, no. I don't think so. I think the market's telling you what they don't believe that one little bit. And I don't know that I do either. They're just, you know, like I felt pretty good about the cybersecurity space when it was getting the dump on some of the AI concern. I don't feel good about this one at all. And then when you look at what's happening on the monthly, look at what's breaking on the monthly chart. Like this support, that's $360, this support on the monthly chart. We're at 320. Like you could bounce 10% from here and still be underneath a 4-year support level. You gotta think about that. It could bounce 10% and still be a breakdown. I could even argue more than that. So it looks like it has a date for underneath like a 2 handle somewhere. 280 looks like a reasonable level on the chart there for Intuit. This one feels like a let it fall flat bottom break. This is what I was sort of talking about, like that support level. You bounce 10% and you're just getting back to that support level. So that's pretty intense. I don't see any way that it's, I suppose had it been up at 335, the notion that you could have like a morning pop to get faded would have made sense because that's 350 level on the daily chart. But at this point, now that's way too far away to even look for it. So I'm staying away from Intuit, and I don't like it in the long term either. There's going to be some, throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of moments. I think that was true in cybersecurity. I don't know that that's going to be true here.
I like the fact that they are cutting some of their workforce. So, trying to get a little bit thinner on that side of things. Obviously not great for current employees, but I don't know. I like their software. It's more than just TurboTax and all that kind of stuff. There's a few platforms in there. They have MailChimp and a few other names involved as well. But yeah, it's a tough road for these guys. We have a super chat about what the PEs for Intel's PE is
third.
146. Yeah. AMD's is 65. Intel's is 28. So Marvell's is 48. But I want to see what INTU's PE is right here, because I think this is getting beat up probably a little bit too much. There it is right there. Forward PE 14 right now for Intuit. So yeah, not great, man. But I just wonder if it's beat up a little bit too much. We could easily see a pushback in this name. The chart is not looking like something you want to support, that's for sure. I mean, look at this 50-period moving average just getting hit to the downside. I think as a longer-term look on this name, you're going to find some value somewhere. Still reporting there. It's 3,000 employees they're laying off, and that's almost 17% of the workforce. So they're a huge part of the business here and part of the story in the United States. Revenue still $8.6 billion up year over year. EPS 1280 beating 1257. 36% year over year growth. Intuit hiked its revenue and EPS outlook. So I think this is well overcooked right now to the downside, and would not be surprised if we do spike a little bit above. You got to wait for VWAP. You got to wait for some of these levels to hit. But I don't know. I think the bears have definitely come for this name, and you don't want to get into it until you don't want to get into it. That's probably.
There it is.
There it is. But that was definitely, that turned out to be good, but I'm saying you don't want to get into this, maybe that's better, until you have at least a couple days. So I would let this one settle out 2 or 3 days, let it settle, because look, even as we're talking about it, man, it was just down 16%. Now it's down 19 and going lower here. As those imbalances of now, how many more stories do we have? Okay, we have Tesla. So
NVIDIA is a buy imbalance.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's just quickly look at this and we'll go back over just the Tesla story left. So there's the NVIDIA buy balance. So that's trying to spike a little bit back up there. In QBTS, so we already know about the quantum names. That's a buy as well. That's coming back in though. Other than that, man, pretty lazy on the morning so far. 3 minutes to go, Adara. What's this news, and Sharif as well, with FSD?
Sharing a social media post that seems to indicate that they finally have long-awaited FSD approval in China.
And that is not accurate, actually. It's just a grandfathered version called Intelligent Assist Driving, and that's going to be the system that's going to be in place until Q3 of this year when they launch full FSD. They still don't have the approval from regulators, and to bridge that gap until Q3, they're on a hiring spree. They're looking at basically hiring autonomous driving test technicians in Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen to manually log and validate public roads. So we'll keep an eye out on that. And unlike how they've been kind of doing FSD, at least over here, into a subscription model, China's still not that way. You got to pay about 64,000 yuan. It's about 9,400 bucks upfront lump sum. So no monthly subscription for FSD quite yet there. And to satisfy the national security laws, very strict, by the way, they're not just housing the data on Baidu and Alibaba servers. They're actually using ByteDance's Dubao model as well as DeepSeek Chat to make a hybrid network integrated built using these models. So not just housing the data there, but actually using localized models there as well, Adara.
Yeah, and so here's the post, guys, talking about the FSD supervised availability. This was also being discussed in addition to the other stuff, as you can see, China there. So a couple different things here with FSD in China. Back to you.
Tesla might have just caught a small sell imbalance or something here, because as NVIDIA went up on the buy imbalance, Tesla just dropped a couple bucks in here to 421. I'm going to pop back to the 15. It was like a slight stair step up all day long on Tesla, rounded bottom. So I'm looking, again, just as long as you hold that prior close area, 415 to 417, dip and rip is a look on Tesla. That's what it did after a bounce on the open. So really quick bounce on the open, then it dipped, set an upward trend. You're able to buy the turn and then VWAP I'd look for something very similar today in TSLA. Didn't see it on the locator, but it certainly dropped. QBTS is still there for a buy. I guess NVIDIA paired off, which makes sense. I mean, it's NVIDIA on earnings. It's going to do a bajillion shares. 600,000 for an imbalance, that's the definition of a nothing burger. Like, we're already at 10 million shares, and we're going to do hundreds of millions today on NVDA. Oh, didn't get to talk about Intel. 114 is the only level that I'm concerned with on Intel. If it can bounce and hold, great. We look for longs. If we lose 114 on the open range, that suckers are short. If CPUs are supposed to be a big thing, and that's what NVIDIA is talking about, then why were AMD and Intel down 3%? Because that's their bread and butter, relatively speaking.
I didn't mean to jinx Walmart here. I said, will Walmart actually be down 6%? I guess the answer is yes. It's coming down to 6% right now. So watch out for Walmart getting hit pretty aggressively here. All right, we're now open. So welcome to the jungle, everybody. We will be watching out for some NVIDIA. I'm still waiting for that top level to break there on NVIDIA. So we'll wait for 225 quarters to break. You can actually go 225 if it winds up breaking, but it's a downside play for now on NVDA, and we try to be as patient as we can with today's market. My biggest trade yesterday was around 10 o'clock after we waited for NVIDIA to base out. I do like the ARM trade today as well, but you know, that's going the other way. You know, we put down 255 when it was at 262, $7 down instead it's $7 up. There goes ARM, brand new all-time highs. So we say awesome on that play as well. And then the news of the day right here is the Marvell, the Microsoft, all that. Look at, here comes Marvell right back in. I'm expecting Microsoft to be back in as well. Yes, so there we go. So both these names starting to kick back down just a little bit right now. Intel, okay, I have to.
Intel just spiked to 118. Okay. Well, yeah, well, guess we're not going to dip into 114. I just sort of chuckle. Like, look at AMD. We're just saying, like, well, if it's all about the GPUs, then why the heck were Intel and AMD down? Well, AMD's not down anymore. It's only 0.5 to the downside. That's a heck of a spike there for both those names. Quantum names, are we going to get that dip in QBTS?
Yeah, we got it in Rigetti, but I didn't take it. Damn it.
Oh, yeah, QBTS, that's D-Wave. I'll just say D-Wave. D-Wave did not dip at all, actually trying to go through VWAP as we speak, so this could just be like a clean trend break. Want to get the confirmation. It's like the opening candle, and I don't want to get the high of it. But whatever, you can see that it's lower highs. I don't need to draw a trend line for you. That's pretty obvious. So it needs to hold over VWAP. Make sure this isn't some crazy reversal candle. It's the one I like. They all have very similar charts in the quant base. Like, we didn't talk about QUBT, but they were all in the same range on that story. So nothing too crazy here off of the open for, I guess, the quantum names. Tesla does not dip anywhere near those teams, but it is still looking a little bit weak. Gonna hold off on Tesla. If we're looking for the dip buy, you had to wait it out a little bit here. It didn't really give it to you until about 10:30.
All right, there's, so Rigetti, 1850, looks good for the long. It's now at 1950, and where does it go to? 1850, the low is 1840. So we absolutely have that good idea on, but then we say, be patient with your entry, and it's just, we talk about not trying to catch a falling knife, but this one was a good story, so we'll have to try to maybe change our rhetoric a little bit on what we're trying to do with those names, especially when the story is positive. We may want to look a little bit at those more aggressively right off the jump, especially if they do hit levels that we like. But here comes NVIDIA on the move, man, up $4. I mean, this hit to 220. We'll see if this one wants to continue to climb a little bit higher. I have the bid in, man, a break of 225. 25 quarters. Just wanted to double check that number. That's what we're going to go with right there as well. Let's see if Walmart's trying to catch a bid. Oh, ouch. My bad. I mean, we talked about 6% there on Walmart. That is continuously moving right now. WMT. Downside there as well. Marvell probably coming back. I want to check that. It's hitting some scanners now, yeah, because right back into VWAP again.
Microsoft and Marvell both pulling back. Yep. Something's going on with Palantir. And it's definitely to the upside. So Dara just confirmed that we don't see a story, but absolutely breaking out here on PLTR.
So apparently they're trying to, get after Pentagon's Defense Intelligence Agency for the ability to bid on a contract. That was as of earlier. I'm not seeing anything new in Palantir today. I've been keeping an eye on the scanners, and I just checked on Benzinga. So whatever that is with PLTR, A, it doesn't really match the prior story we had, and B, there's nothing new.
Gotcha, and that's what they're for, and it doesn't really matter. We're flying anyway, so the first dip is happening in this QBTS. So at least, I don't know what the other quantum names are doing. This is what I'm watching, but it's the first sell action. Just want to see it hold on to the volume-weighted average price, and look for the long, because we didn't get the dip. Like, this one didn't break the low. I mean, I guess Sean showed Rigetti breaking and then going higher, but this didn't at all, unfortunately, on QBTS. Well, I guess fortunately for other people.
All right, here we go, man. We're in it. We all got NVIDIA. It's breaking our level, our #1 trade idea. Let's just keep on watching it. We only got out of a little bit there. Oh, I got out of a decent amount because we got filled twice up there, once in the 60s, once in the 80s. Here goes NVIDIA. The reason why we take a little bit out, we still want to see this thing fly. But could we pull back? I mean, you know, so many times you've been sitting here so happy with our trading, and then all of a sudden it just blasts right back in. But there it is right now. It is your #1 trade of the day, and there it goes right into the dollar. So I don't know how else we could do it, man. We talk about how we get prepared, we put down our notes, and here it goes right now. An absolute monster of a trade, Neil, on NVIDIA. There it goes, man. Now $2 in the money. Your #1 trade idea of the day just gets hit right there. See you later to NVIDIA, man. But like I keep saying, even the last couple of days, we can have these trades, but if you don't get out, then this is what happens. Yesterday, this happened in Google. I'm already out of half, so so far, so good on that one. But here we go. There goes NVIDIA. A little bit of a buy there to start, but you got to take it out when it pops up. We learned our lesson from yesterday with Google. We don't make that same mistake again with NVIDIA. We still have a decent spot on, but we were able to capture a lot of that profit on the upside. And we didn't hit this as aggressively as we did yesterday with the Google because, again, on earnings and yada, yada, yada. But here we go. It's NVIDIA upside right now. That's the trade for me, and we'll see where it falls into. I'm still thinking about rebuying it if it does break through this 223 or so, but for now, we're good. Let's just see if this one wants to sort of levitate a little bit higher here.
Yeah, as it levitates higher, we're heading lower distinctly on INTC. Intel heading to the downside. It just broke down that 115 level. Come on, QBTS, give me the fill. Never did. QBTS, we're still looking for that VWAP break, but through the downside here on Intel, rejection through the high. Now we're underneath VWAP, so I'm shorting this one back into the pre-market low. Still want to get those quantum names going as well. So short one. I'm not going to chase over here. I'm not going to chase. We're going to wait for that pullback there on QBTS, but Intel, with a huge reversal, and USO, if you're looking at the overall market, USO's been trending higher. This is the exact opposite of what we had at the open yesterday. We're trending in the other direction. So overall market looking relatively weak, with the exception of NVIDIA, I would say. But those quantum names, they're absolutely going. You knew this was going to be a bit of a big play, but we haven't had a single red candle for a pullback in any of them. Whatsoever. So just Intel for me, and you know, it was an initial break. It didn't do the dip and rip off this level. It decided it was going to do the false break of the high, and I think it's got a lot of gap to fill down into 110. So as long as we can hold underneath this pre-market support level, I'm going to continue to like the short there.
All right. Yeah, let's check out some Google here. Google downside again, 385. We're going to average in. So we only have like 20% left of this NVIDIA trades, but it's coming back in. So we're going to wait for 223.50 or so at this 25 period moving average. See if it gives us another fill, and then we can get out of the way of this name if it wants to keep going down. Always tricky, man, to trade these names into earnings, right? And so we'll put a stop of 222. I think in like 75 or so if we wind up getting that fill, and we can punch out of that immediately if there's any problems. So that's what we'll be doing for now. We got to go over to Adair and see what she's up to.
Hey, Sean, but I do want to do some housekeeping because I realized I didn't mention earlier at 9:45, so in about 8 minutes, we're going to be getting a whole slew of economic data. So none at 10, but again, 3 numbers coming through at 9:45. U.S. Services PMI, S&P Manufacturing PMI, and S&P Composite PMI. So all 3 S&P PMI prints are going to be coming out at 9:45 a.m. Those are the flash or the preliminary prints for the month of May. So again, guys, 7 minutes, you'll see me right back here. Back to you.
It's too bad. Like we nail. I mean, Rigetti again. Like we have that NVIDIA call. We have the Rigetti. We only have 2 calls on here. There's Rigetti 1850. It goes to 1840, but it does that right off the open, and now it's up $2. So there's 20%. Into that. We didn't have all 20%. We had about 10% of it into that trade. But okay, here comes another one for us. We're going to wait to see if we do get that fill. Just in case I miss it, I'm going to take a little bit down here in the 90s, but I still am waiting for 223.50 to come into play. We're at VWAP. That's where, okay, did we get it? Okay, you say that's where VWAP is, so let's just see if it holds. Here we go, man. It's NVIDIA on the come up and then on the come down right now for NVDA. So a break of 222, we're gonna get out of this one, and then we'll just be like, okay, well, we had the long, we tried to buy it back, might not work here, NVIDIA. Always tricky to play names on earnings, but we're gonna wait around, okay, now it's just getting hit to the downside. So it looks like the sellers are finally coming in for NVIDIA. It doesn't have that, you can tell when it has like that meme stuff going on with it right now. Every time it tries to go up to the upside, it seems like it's getting hit right now. But, you know, if we can absorb a little bit of this downturn, yeah, look at that. It was just at 223.60s there, and then just look at this, man. This is moving a lot. You know how much volume is required to move this? Like, this is an absolutely insane, a bunch of shares going through right now on NVDA. So looks like we will get stopped out. There it is. Our order's in right now. Break right now, and there it is. So we are stopped out of NVIDIA. We tried the
same thing just happened in Intel in the other direction.
I might go back.
They just sold. Yeah, and they just came right back under VWAP. So shorted the breakdown, giving it to VWAP, and now it's threatening right under. I might have just got wicked out. It's crazy because we're basically saying the opposite thing in the same time period. Like, I'm thinking it wicked out the short on Intel, the same time it wicked out the long on NVIDIA. So you're getting this counter trend trade between probably AMD and NVIDIA. But like, I was just short this breakdown. VWAP, yeah, now it's back to VWAP.
Wow, wow, that's too bad.
I'm giving that one up. The big fail, I mean, Intel's going to end up being a fail because it doesn't end up following through. It got down to 114 change, but the real fail is going to be QBTS. That's the one it is what it is. It's a clean trend break, it's a VWAP hold. Now it's 21%, and I'm going to try not to chase this one, but there's a decent part of me that really, really wants to be chasing QBTS and trying to catch a bid. So the only thing you can do is look for maybe QUBT, maybe Rigetti, if I can find that, giving you a better trend trade. Rigetti's only breaking the high now, and QUBT is only breaking the high now, and Rigetti already gone. So maybe QUBT can give me a chance for a catch-up trade in the quantum space.
Maybe I shouldn't be sharing these outs anymore. We literally got out at the bottom there. We were able to buy it right back because I was like, you know what, if this is going to go, let's let this one breathe a little bit. We just got some out at 224.40s right there, so we make a little bit back, but we did get stopped out there. That's kind of sucky because that was, we did have a decent position there, and all of a sudden, boom, down to the downside. Let's check out ARM. That's too bad about Rigetti, man. We actually have that price, and we just didn't want to take it. Yes. Okay, man. All right, well, now I'm happier now. I mean, ARM up another 10%. Like, this little stupid position that I took is starting to really get going. We really like some ARM. We like some Marvell. The account is flying right now, and so is our account over here, now $1.25 in the money. But we did already lose on NVIDIA. We're just trying to get a little bit back here on that one. I'm going to wait for 225 to come in. We just took out some 224.50s. We'll wait to see if 225 comes. That's sort of when the damage started there. As soon as we didn't hold, that was our first break long. We went up, we were in the money $2, took a decent amount out, but then left that 20% there, and then bought it back into VWAP. It breaks, and then we get out. But, you know, again, completely changing up our mentality now. We're not layering in hard until it gets to key levels, so therefore when it breaks, we still have some skin in the game, and we don't have to worry about getting stopped out or whatever. But yeah, there goes Rigetti and some of the quantum space. It's absolutely flying. We didn't even miss that one. It came right to our price. We just missed it by not putting out an order on that. And then Walmart today, don't tell Joe, but now down 7% is Walmart down there
goes
too.
SSR.
The downside. Yeah, that would be crazy.
Walmart goes SSR. That's an auto.
Palantir piling back.
Yeah, you know what? You're not a mean reversion trader if you're not looking at Walmart. I'm staring down the quantum names to see which one can give me a dip buy. And right now the answer is none of them. So the next available trade, it's either this or Nike. Remember Nike yesterday? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nike, trend trade, blah, 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 all day yesterday. This one is also trending back in. As long as we're above the prior high and holding this 43 level, 43 first, this prior high, 42.6, those are two trend reversions to play for. But give me a break. Walmart, was it this bad?
Yeah.
It was bad. No, it was a bad quarter. 115 in the long term, that's going to be a place to buy. But if we sniff 10%, fine. If we break this trend at any point, I will take a shot in it. Just not seeing any pullback whatsoever. The QBTS is still absolutely flying. Just give us a dip, one little dip, whether it's QBTS or Rigetti or QUBT is the other one. These ones are all too far gone, 21% now. I wish I owned more D-Wave. You never really, whatever. It is what it is.
Yep, always. Okay, just trying to find out if there's anything else going around. We did have Tesla talk. Palantir, we talked about that early. That was a really good move back to the high side. We're still into this NVIDIA, and I still do like it. So we're going to have to wait to see what's going on with that NVIDIA trade. Trying to battle around 224 right now. We're trying to hold it. We're in the money about $1. We need it to go a little more than that. Tesla's still up that 1.25%. We did get that story about FSD in China. Apparently an older story or an older FSD New story, but it was a supervised.
They announced them. I was kind of confused because they actually did announce on their post as I showed the supervised. Like that's legit.
Okay, yeah, so all good on that one. But Tesla right now bouncing around with the market. I mean, the market's down 0.6 and Tesla's actually up 1.4. So, potentially seeing some kind of strength in Tesla right now. We do have numbers right about now. Let's go get those PMIs.
Yeah, as I told you guys here, we are going to get that S&P Services Manufacturing Composite PMI data in like 2 seconds now. Forecast for 51.2 for services. Services actually coming in at 50.9. So again, 51.2 is the forecast. Slight miss here or I guess below estimates rather here for that S&P Services PMI. Composite PMI also below estimates, 51.7 versus 51.8 expected. But then you have the S&P Manufacturing PMI coming well above estimates. You got a number of 55.3 versus 53.8 forecast. So again, slightly below expected for S&P Services and Composite PMI, well above expectations here for S&P Manufacturing PMI. And here's the market not reacting too much to this number, guys. This is the only number of the day. Again, of course, we had 8:30 numbers, but nothing like at 10 a.m. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Adara. And you've got two absolute falling knives here, one of which is actually breaking back into the upside. That's going to be Nike. So Nike first. Walmart will have to wait, as this one is made a rounded bottom in here off that 43 level. So about 43.25. Looks like it's trying to hold. There's your bottom. There's your breakout of the trend. It's pretty obvious. Sometimes you don't even have to draw the trend line. So I'm trying to pick it up on this candle. And I think this can fill in the gap. It was a program buy off a dip yesterday. That's the big thing. It did dip down initially off the open and then go into a parabolic move up. So the parabolic move is certainly happening. All right, just going to take the break of that prior bar. Just long into this low and to look for a gap fill. This and Walmart. Very different though. Walmart is legitimately down. Obviously, they just reported earnings. So this one could be a little bit heavier and require a little bit more patience to try to catch the bid here. 7%, maybe you do see double digits. If you do, the 10% mark, I'm just looking for a long, if it goes 10% down.
Okay. Someone in our chat, in my board there, commented on Xanadu. So we go over into the sticky note right here, and I asking for some ideas of what you guys were looking at. And it was you, a new CEO, about an announcement for the quantum play. There it is right here. What's up to Tim Pierce talking about Xanadu right there today. So a Canadian name in the quantum space, getting a little bit of a boost today. So XNDU starting to go as well. Still like womp womp on that Rigetti there, man. We should have definitely, I don't know what the story is, just quantum. So that should be a good one there. Let's check out what IBM is doing here again today. So pulling back in. I should be getting filled soon. Maybe I already did. I'll check out my account for that one to see if that's coming back in. And look, man, we emptied out the clip a little bit there on NVIDIA to the point where we can now reload. So we're going to try to get this again at 222. I was actually waiting for 222.50s or so to come into play. So we'll see if that can hit for us right now. But we just missed a little bit of a dip buy opportunity there as well for NVIDIA. But yeah, just waiting to see if that one wants to go. We did have Micron today as well. Some of these parts going higher. Micron up 2.7%. We saw, we could actually check out, there goes NVIDIA, by the way. We got filled and then it came out right away. So NVIDIA out there and then a quick in and out there at the 50 period. It does not hold. Looks like we're going lower right now in this space. NVIDIA downside.
A downside in the market, too. Oh, we had a super chat. This was from earlier. Sorry about missing this one. 214B. What do we think of Alphabet, stay long or cut? You're talking about June 18, 395 calls. We answered a question about I have Walmart on the brain because it's right on that trend line. We answered a question about this yesterday. I just feel a little bit bearish up the top here, just from it's a valuation on Alphabet. Really, more than anything else. You have so many options. NVIDIA is now going to get much cheaper after their report, and that gets appealing. Microsoft now is a good story. I just think when you're picking and choosing, it might be a little bit of time off for Alphabet, and a buy the dip is where my brain's at for this stock. So I'll sort of stick with that notion on Google. It's still fantastic, great insulation, and they are the best out there. They overwhelmingly won the poll of our viewers as which Mag 7 name you like the best. It wasn't even, it was them and NVIDIA, and no one else was close. So I just think they have a little bit of a time off here.
Okay, so let's just keep looking for more opportunities. I mean, unfortunately, right now the Nasdaq is not really telling me anything. So it's kind of like tried to go back and forth with NVIDIA there. Really, that's what it was, back and forth. I mean, up, down. Thinking about buying that dip against using that low again. I mean, I know the buyers are going to come for this name, but like talk about a quarter that was not well received, but actually put out pretty well. The difference between these guys and Walmart, just Walmart didn't have the great guide. Their quarter was fine. It's the guide that was the problem. Now down 7%. There goes Walmart. And yeah, not trying to roll too many casinos here today. We're just trying to be exactly patient, waiting for something to set up. And if it can. Microsoft gave it all back, by the way. So there's that huge spike up in Softy, giving it all back right now is Microsoft. So, what to think about that. This might be something to roll the dice on. I mean, we did hear that there was some kind of a story, again, with Anthropic. So I'm going to try it right against the low of the day. What is the real pre-market low here? We don't want to get stopped out too early, but 417 maybe as a stop there for Microsoft. We'll see about getting a few more shares if it does come back in just a little bit to 418.50 or so. But right now, Microsoft will take that long. We're long right here in the 30s. That's nothing. You could see this name drop easily. Let's put another bid at 418. Kind of low there, 70s or so. Hopefully that will come through. If not, we wait to see if it breaks down through 417, okay, as the breaking spot there for that name. And of course now NVIDIA, not of course, it's still doing nothing. It did just make a move back to 223 there. AMD holding out pretty good considering what NVIDIA is doing. I thought this would have been a little bit lower. And then the last look, ARM was at 280, man, the last time we saw it. Still at 280, man. What an absolute monster.
I will be moving the trail on that
9%
for sure. 10%
up right there.
Nick Dubs, well, quickly, you got about the bottom end of the range move upside there on Nike after it broke trend and broke VWAP. So took a leg out, looking for the gap fill into the prior low. And then if it sets up like it did, if it does anything resembling what this turn was yesterday, look for like the dip buys off VWAP initially and then a potential small trend here. Nick Dubs, best of luck for the trading day. Appreciate you. What are your thoughts on a swing long in Caramel? Oh, that's the critical metals. Yeah. Right. Sharif calls it Caramel for some reason. You know what? This looks pretty good, Nick Dubs. I'm an MP, so that's just me. That's what I own shares in. But you got flat bottom at 7, higher low, both the 50 and the 200 holding. That's always a plus. Trend break. It's got a lot of positives for a long there. It's just a matter of like, what's your risk parameters? Are you holding it to the low? Are you holding it at the 200 period? Are you holding it, everyone's time horizon is different. But that's a great looking trend breakout for for critical metals.
Okay, I'm still in this one trade. Got to let this sort of mature up a little bit here for Microsoft. We're long at 419.30s. It just touched 420 and we didn't get out. So I'm putting now a small little offer there at 420. See if it does go. And it's only 70 cents. I didn't necessarily want to take 70 cents on this name, but that's right where the 200 period moving average is. So, it's really 420.25. But we'll see if it comes up one more time, see if we get touched in and around that 420 marker. And then I have another bid up at this offer at this 421-ish area. But for right now, we're well away from everything there. If this drops below 417, then we will have had our day in the sun for Microsoft. It won't give it too much more run off of those levels, okay? So that's one thing that we're going to be looking out for, a breakthrough. And I just used 417 because I thought that was pretty much, let me zoom out a little bit there. I'm not using any of these lows from 7 o'clock. It's kind of like where that story started. So maybe it's even, 417 might even be, actually that's probably pretty low. Let's go 417.50s for a break. So let's change our stop order on Microsoft there to 417.50. And if that breaks that, then unfortunately we are going to get out, and hopefully we don't have what happened to us on NVIDIA there, where we got out and then started to pop a little bit again. But
yeah, guys, I've been looking with news. I haven't seen anything yet. Sorry to interrupt. I'm just seeing a lot of people in the chat ask. There's no truth post. There's literally nothing. If that changes, I'll keep you posted.
Okay.
USO just dropped. It's because of this drop in USO, everybody. That's why I think people are asking questions. About $1.50 to the downside on USO. That would be good for the market, obviously, but I don't think I'm going to change. Yeah, like the target's to fill in the gap here in Nike, and Nike probably doesn't care too much about what's happening in USO. If it can't get through that chop zone anyways, it couldn't yesterday. I think we can try to get it out there, and then buy the next available dip is going to be the plan of action. Let's go to Adair. Maybe we do have something.
This just came out now, guys, but keep aware, you're seeing reports from Al Jazeera that the Iranian official has denied a report that the supreme leader of Iran has said that uranium must stay in Iran. So we know we had this move here earlier down in the market up on oil on reports, I believe from Reuters, that the Iranian supreme leader really wanted uranium, specifically near weapons-grade uranium, to stay in Iran. Now, according to Al Jazeera, some officials are denying that this was said by the supreme leader. If I get more details, confirmation, or lack thereof, I'll let you know.
Thanks, Adair. We did get filled on our IBM, so that's so far so good. We'll see what's going on. There's NVIDIA. Maybe that's going to start to go back up to the upside. We'll see. But there's IBM. So we do get that fill on IBM. I don't know. I took it in the Canadian market, so we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening. I think we're bidding around 233. I told you guys that we were trying to play halfway back, so the math was roughly $10 down. So we sat there, took that fill there at 433. So we add this monster, hopefully, into our account, and we'll wait to see what's going on there. We just missed a bid at 418.60, honestly, there on Microsoft, or we would have added to that. So that's where I'm sitting to add to it. It got to 418.75. So if it looks like it's going to come back in, just letting you guys know what I'm sitting on now and waiting to see what happens with Microsoft down at those levels. But yeah, man, it has been a story.
Oil is
today.
Really
yeah, oil's getting hit downside. I mean, this is what the rest of the market looks like. Obviously, we're very well focused there. You know, Intel obviously was a rough one. NVIDIA was a rough one. Microsoft waiting for that. But here, today, the tech names still trying to figure this out, man. There's Walmart getting absolutely spanked, down now 7%. Costco down 3%. Amazon down. We got out of our target. I mean, we talked about getting out of 75% of that one at 121. Now that's down. Thanks, Walmart. Target was actually trying to do better there. All right, the financials also not having great moments, right? The investment banks doing much better. The Morgan Stanleys, the Goldman Sachses, but it's the big money bank. JP Morgan actually still up 0.45. That's fine. MasterCard down. Bank of America down. AXP. So some of these bank stocks are getting hit to the downside. And then here's where we thought we would see some love today with that kind of. Did Randy bring some more coffees? No. There's NVIDIA and Apple and Broadcom and Micron. So, you know, all these names are pretty much just flattish. I mean, NVIDIA to be down 0.4 doesn't really do too much to it. Intel down 2% right now. I'm still trying to mess around with Microsoft, but as you can see, we're not trading it that heavily.
New low.
But yeah, there it is, man. Microsoft is new low in what, Walmart or
Walmart,
Nike?
Walmart.
Oh, Walmart, yeah. So, sorry, that's NVIDIA. This is Microsoft right now. So we get our 60 fill, and we don't even have one unit. We almost have one unit now. So if this falls down a little bit more, we can grab our one unit, and then 417.50, if that breaks, we're out. So we're not trying to like catch this falling knife. We did have a good story with Anthropic, we thought, but the market is apparently either denied. Did that get denied or something? Because
I don't think you got denied, but
yeah, so 433 today at 9:10, falling back quite aggressively, man. I mean, this is a big market cap move for Microsoft to have gotten a story that we thought was a positive one. Apparently not so much, but yeah, there goes Microsoft downside. We got to sit on our hands a little bit. Look at the futures.
Some other upside moves here.
Look at Rigetti. I want to throw up about Rigetti.
Nokia, 3.8%.
I don't know who's calling that phone, Adair.
I don't know. Adair seemed very excited about. I said they were excited about.
Is it Stacy? Yeah, Neil doesn't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fine. QBTS. That's again, if it's the quantum names. I actually looked back at the note, and it just sucks even worse because 21.5 apparently was a level. It wasn't the deep dip buy, but that's a clean trend break. Nike's starting to run out of steam. The market is still looking very strong after that USO move, but Nike's running out of steam in front of that pre-market high. So trend break, it's at VWAP, usually to there. maybe I'll just slap a trail on it. I wanted to get 44s on this, so you know what? We'll leave that in. I'm gonna go back to 44. We're in front of the 44. And if we just sort of lose this candle here, I can get out, look for the reload at the volume-weighted average price. Because if it starts to set up this move, the big play was at 10.15. Oh, reminder, everybody, it's Nat Gas, and the last 2 Thursdays, Nat Gas has made a huge move, breaking a slight downward trend and then flying. So at 10:30, you're going to have Boyle on the mind. Don't usually haven't looked at it in a while, but certainly with the last couple of Thursdays, it's obvious if you pull out the chart. And Walmart, still going to have to wait for the reversion on Walmart. That is just made a fresh low. You probably heard me say it now, 7.5% down. Seems like they want 10%. At some point, I'm going to put a bid in my PA for Walmart in and around those teens, just to start nibbling in. Because when this one starts getting, trending to the downside, that's when I like to get in. I never want to. It's too expensive to buy it on the highs. You got to buy dips on stocks that are overpriced. And it's still going down. Adara.
Let's discuss here, guys. Let's start with this market. As you can see, pushing nicely here off of these lows as we get an update here to a prior report. So, a lot of this move here up in oil, down in the market came as Reuters reported that the Supreme Leader of Iran was specifically ordering that the near nuclear grade uranium not leave the country. Now we have other reports suggesting that's not the case. So that change in things did actually lead to a move up here in the market once we started processing that headline. Also seeing that an official source from Qatar is saying to the Associated Press that they are only supporting the ongoing mediation led by Pakistan. They're not going to do their own mediation. I guess that was in question. What wasn't in question, though, is we had a really solid report for NVDA last night, regardless of how the stock is reacting. Adjusted EPS and sales beat, record revenue, record data center revenue, guiding another really strong quarter for next quarter. And they also announced an additional $80 billion in share buybacks. IBM and a lot of these other quantum plays, including QBTS, Rigetti, Inflection, GFS, they're all reportedly getting some U.S. government investments. IBM actually already kind of confirming theirs on their website via a deal with the U.S. government. So good look here for these quantum plays. Keep them on watch for sure. Microsoft, what a fall. We've dropped $15 from the reaction high on this news. Anthropic reportedly talking to the company to use their Maya AI chips, as reported by The Information. Another name that moved on this because of its reported involvement with the Maya chips is Marvell, but Marvell actually holding up relatively well on this. Back to you. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah, Marvell holding
I just got a cash infusion that I need to put into the market somewhere.
Okay, well, you said Walmart, so there you go.
No, well, it's more than just Walmart. I have to buy some other stuff too. I'm liking where Microsoft might be as well, because I want to try to pick up some value.
All right. I don't know if Microsoft's any value, but I think we'll see.
Relative to the other mags?
Yeah, relative to it. But they don't have what the other mags have. But I still like Microsoft.
Probably
still a huge
Meta
holding,
on a P
for me. But yeah, so right now we took out a little bit there as it bumped up into 419 again there, just for a flat. We got at a 5% of the position there. I don't know if this is going to go or not, but we're into a position now where comfortable with it. We could lose $1.30 on this, right? If it breaks through 417.50 minus a little bit of slippage. So let's see if it wants to go back up, man. I'm waiting at 419.60 right now. See if we can get that. That's where this 25 period is. So we'll see if that can happen. And otherwise, man, let's just dump out of this one and say, forget it right now for that. So we'll have to wait to see if anything's going to hit us on Microsoft. You mentioned Marvell is still going well as well there. All right, so NVIDIA now finally starting to catch that bid. As look at what this market's doing. Like Microsoft, it's just so hilarious. If I dug into anything else other than Microsoft, what would we even be looking like right now? We'd probably be cruising. Let's check out Google, another name that I love to buy, and we'll see if that's doing anything here as well. No, so this could be one that has an opportunity. But again, like this is actually looking like NVIDIA was a little yesterday, where we were getting pretty weak underneath everything, and then eventually when it took off, it really took off. But for Google right now, again, like don't like what's happening with the market versus what's happening right here. And that's why I say, like, what is leading this market? And the only missed trade, I only have one missed trade, and that was Rigetti. We actually have the price written down on our note, but it hits in the first minute. And I put on our note, and exactly like what I'm trying to do here is be patient and wait for your entry, right? And so unfortunately, it was just a little bit too much patience and just didn't want to take that. There's 1850. It's exactly what we wrote. And now it's at 21 and change. So congrats to that one. Crying over spilt milk I am on that. So we'll have to wait. Not getting too much else going on here. Quantum is the talk today. Robinhood, just watching out for Bitcoin. That's trying to break through the highs right now, getting positive again on Hood right now. So that's something that you could look for some relative strength, hopefully back into the financial space. I've layered into SoFi. Whenever we talk about Robinhood, I always go to SoFi. I know they're completely different businesses, but this is another beat up name. And then we have Webull coming in. Adara's already given the best pun of the day. Will it be a Webull or a Webear there tonight? So that's 2% up right now for Webull. And this one looks to me like it does have a potential to get going. You know, nice consolidation right now. Huge move down on Webull, trying to find its base. You know, if they can come out, put out some numbers. Obviously, check out Trader TV Research. Adara will probably have something on Webull there. Okay, there we go. So guaranteed, I just heard Adara. So she'll have something there, and we can find out what numbers we're looking for out of Webull. I'm looking for Microsoft to get going, so that's what I'm, hands-on for that. And then we'll wait to see what happens with ARM. Still 285, 286 breaking through right now. That high spot right there on ARM. So it's starting to get going. Yeah, it looks like Microsoft just fails again at those highs. NVIDIA could be a short there, by the way, but wow.
Tesla's getting smoked.
Is it? Okay, well, so is Microsoft.
All right, Walmart's a potentially breaking trend. First things first, I did the trail out on Nike. So I want to look for a VWAP continuation. I'm just looking for a similar thing to yesterday, dip, and if it can really get going the second time through, the trend buying came in at about 10 o'clock. Walmart still continues to look pretty weak, but there's the open. So forget about the trend from the pre-market, right? You got earnings and all that kind of stuff. You got the conference call and all that nonsense. It's only now breaking this trend line from the open. And even then, it's like it's a hastily, not perfectly drawn one, but it looks pretty convincing here. It's a 3-minute chart, so this isn't even going to close until a couple of seconds from now. Yeah, this is closing in the green. I was going to say, I thought I had another minute. No, but this is closing pretty much now. So I'm going to slip 50s in there and then just give it to the body of the prior bar. So risking with slippage, I'd call it like 80 pennies, something along those lines, which you have to consider. On an earnings name, the spread's only a couple of cents, so it's probably not even going to have any slippage. Don't want to chase too far away, so hopefully I'll get picked up. And again, just want to make sure, set your stop. VWAP is always going to be a target on any kind of a bounce play, but this is not an SSR bounce. It didn't get the 10% to the downside. Yeah, Walmart, I'll be on the bid in the personal, but this is just a trade, try to hold it to the low if I can get picked up on the bid. I don't know what to do with the quantum names because, if you can't get in, I said this before, on a trend up like this, sometimes if you're not in on the long trade, like the first available setup ends up being some kind of parabolic reversal, which up 27%, that's what it seems like it's going to be for QBTS. So I might just sit this out until we get closer to the midday and look for some kind of a reversion pullback, topping tail candle that can be scalped, something along those lines. The quant names are fantastic today. It doesn't matter what you have. I don't think a single one of them is looking poorly. It could be Rigetti, it could be QBTS, it could be QUBT, it could be IBM, right, if you're looking for a bigger name. QUBT, this is going to be the worst one. It's up 16%, and that's the worst one. Crazy. Everything Brew, a lot of beer references today. ZDAI, your friend Gabe. Thanks, Gabe. I don't know that one.
Damn, man.
Yeah, direct booking technology. Okay, so this is the reason we don't know it. Thanks for the super chat. I don't mind bringing it up at 4,000 shares in volume. I can shrug the shoulders, habitual line stepper on the daily chart. Like this is, that kind of a chart's usually a pretty hard pass for me. Like that's probably like a reverse split or something, and then it falls when they usually do. Almost back to that dollar level, so penny stock that wants to be a penny stock again. Unless there's a really good story, I kind of really stay away from these types of things. Sorry. But thanks for the super chat, though.
All right, so yeah, this 417 area is It's gonna have to try to hold, man, something out here. And if it doesn't, then yeah, we gotta step away. Oh, this IBM, yeah, I was looking at this one too because we did dip by this, so we'll see if that one wants to work out. Microsoft's still trying to go. No comment on this one really until we see where it moves off of, right? NVIDIA, we still took that initial trade of 225 break there long. All right, just quickly here, IonQ is moving, obviously, as some of all of these quantum names continue to blast a little bit higher. SMR, INTC maybe pulling back a little bit here today as we looked at Intel one more time for all of you. There it is, pulling back into VWAP, into the 200 period moving average, potentially looking to get, okay, I need to take advantage of something here because that's a good move up. I'm going to punch a little bit out on Microsoft here. I'm still waiting at 1890. Maybe we get that there, but I just took a 75 fill as we just battled back. We were just down there at 417.50, so we got pretty close to getting stopped out, and then we battled right back upside. So let's make sure we take out a little bit more on this name just in case it does not want to hold out for us. There it is. There it is. Yes. Okay, we get that 90 fill, so that's a good one. Now let's go and see what winds up happening here. My next offer is 419.60. Maybe I got to fix that. Well, no, just ahead of the 200 and 420. That's fine. And then maybe we'll see about a higher play now. Let's go Microsoft. We've been sitting in this one waiting for it. We didn't have much patience in NVIDIA. I tried it. I guess we had pretty good patience with it. We waited to the 50 period moving average and then eventually got stopped out there. Good win early, late take there, and then in and out quickly at the 50 period, but that was an average, so we wind up getting hit. So make the money back, average it in, get hit right there again. Now we wait to see what our friend Softy wants to do. Now, again, NBIS had a huge move up earlier today. We can see if that's trying to hold out. Yes, it is, man. Now up 17% as Nebius going higher there. CoreWeave could be looked at as well probably today with Nebius. Nebius got a deal, so CoreWeave may be a little bit different, but there's the NVIDIA effect as well with CoreWeave. Hopefully that one can get going a little bit. Nothing else is really hitting my scanner. I mean, everybody's putting in the same names.
There's a new one in the chat.
Lays Eyes or Seals Q. This could be one maybe.
Elf?
Oh, well, Elf, yeah, Elf on a report. That's a good one. There's Seals Q,
nice.
upside as well. This actually could be a nice breaker. So shout out to, who was that? Zuzu Denker. What's up, Zuzu? That's a good play right there. Look at this one. Looking to break through here. Lays, L-A-E-S, definitely a good look for me there if you're looking this way area. Trying to break out, nice little barcode and a break there. Any news on L-A-E-S, Adara, as we look out?
I kind of yelled it quietly there, but they're actually quantum. So
Or a
it's a
viewer,
quantum
okay.
company.
Oh, okay.
They're not
There
one of
it
the
goes.
companies that was mentioned, though.
All right.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
No, we were sort of saying like about Sharif this morning, like I guarantee you, like every single small cap name that he's going to look at, well, maybe not every single, I'm overstating it. Now, a lot of the small cap names that you're going to look at that are gapping or mid caps that are running, they're just going to be quantum names that are adjacent to this euphoria that we're seeing. Or fortunately, I think. So Tesla also broke trend. There was another new name, not new, but Elf. Elf was mentioned in the chat. Yuck. I thought Elf was looking good. Maybe I guess the downgrade was correct because that was up like 9% and it was on the downgrade board and they got smoked off of the open. So Tesla, in addition to Walmart, broke trend. Any guesses at where this bounce just stopped? 420. So it goes in, fails 420. I want 21s. That's going to be this pre-market low in this candle in here. Walmart's trying to do its thing as well, but like the second you get up, fail 420, we're right back to the entry. So yeah, you cannot hold the bid here on Tesla, but I do like this one. In the level we were liking, yeah, I'm going to give this to this bar. That's not even a green candle that gets this bounce. Literally on a red candle. So if you're losing 417.80, let's say, gonna jump out and look for another bid because ultimately we're not even close to that 415 to 417. Yes, the top end of the range, but there's still some room down here to fill the gap even more. So we're in, looking for that pop into 21s. Walmart is also going as well, looking for this to get back and didn't even get filled on that last dip buy. But I want this into VWAP here on Walmart.
All right, guys, what would trading look like if capital wasn't the constraint? That's the reality for most traders. It's not skill holding them back, it's the size. Trade the Pool, of course, changes that. Step into the U.S. equity markets with up to $200,000 in buying power without committing your own capital. Full access to the stocks and to ETFs. Long or short, execute with the precision and freedom that serious traders expect. Your performance is measured by one standard: discipline, risk management, and consistent execution. Meet that standard and operate at scale. No subscriptions, no ongoing obligations, just a clear path forward. For those ready to trade beyond limitations, this is your next level. Visit tradethepool.com and use TraderTV, one word, TraderTV, to get your 10% off of Trade the Pool. And of course, we trade on props, so we all know about what that means as far as, leveling up and trying to, once you get your game marked down, try to use a little bit more shares and see if Trade the Pool or any sort of prop firm can be good for you. Microsoft, just again, like wishing it would go a little bit more than where it did. Our best outs is 419.10s. So, 30 cents is the best we got on this one. We're getting lighter on it, though. It does not look like it wants to work. The market is fading out right now back in. Probably an NVIDIA story, yeah. So there's NVIDIA fading as well back into some of those lows of 222. We'll see if it wants to hold down there, if it gets back into there. It looks like Microsoft will probably eventually come out. So that's going to be a trade that we tried. It just did not work out. And the other mag name, and I keep looking over at Rigetti and I want to throw up, but whatever. There's Apple pulling back in as well. So Apple, the whole market losing a little bit of a bid here, as you can see, right back through VWAP and now holding out at your 50 period. Not a bad spot to start thinking about a buy, but with Apple approaching that 300 marker, maybe it's worth waiting to see if Apple can catch a bid down where it caught one real early at $300.50. That's not a horrible spot there for Apple either. So we'll wait. I'm just surprised at Microsoft, man. They get that great story. They pop up huge. We're trying to find a base. We haven't taken any.
What the heck was that?
Yeah, the market just made a dip there. We haven't taken any hits on Microsoft yet, but we're holding something against us, a buck right now. So, all right, maybe USO. The market just... okay, USO bouncing upside a little bit there. So yeah, there's the move down in oil. Here's the move back up. The market's trying to react.
A trap.
A little bit. Yeah, it seems like it might be a trap. So we'll have to wait to see if that trap is set and then land.
Oh, it's set.
Trap seems to be set.
The trap might have just been set there. There was just a huge volume spike. So we took some out in front of the 420 on Tesla. It then ran underneath the prior bar. Then we had a huge, I'm just in this staring, watching a huge volume spike go through to basically wick that bottom and just jumped right back into the trade. So if it get wicked out, and it was a big volume spike, no questions asked. And it wasn't just on Tesla. It was, I don't know, if you have like 3 or 4 level 2s up and they all do the same liquidity event at the same time, like I have Walmart up and it did the same thing. But yeah, like I said, it might even be a trap. So I'm not going to give it past that prior low. You suck, Tesla. That's the only one I have. I would hit the fail thing, but I'm on the wrong one. So I'm going to hit the fail on it. So it might have been a trap. But when I see that volume spike,
oh no,
and it's a wick out, I'm generally going to go back in at the same level instead of waiting for the bottom. Walmart's an earnings name. So potentially Walmart's not really caring what we're seeing happen. Like the Nasdaq's pulling back, and it's still like gently trending higher. But what I would want to see is, it's one thing to make one higher low. Continue to put in some higher lows, and that'll give a chance to maybe add on the next test of a trend line there. So Walmart kind of bucking the trend of the market and should have paid more attention to USO. Because that volume spike, yeah, USO was breaking higher, not lower. So that's probably the reason why you could slap the fail on that Tesla, because that volume spike was oil going the other direction. So really, it should have been a sell.
Probably just there was some sort of a rumor there about Oman and the Strait of Hormuz and all that kind of stuff. So we'll have to wait to see what's going on there. But now oil's pulling back just a little bit. I kind of want to try one more time here with Microsoft, but it's getting hit down here again. So 416, breaking lower now, not good, into 417 now, completely giving everything back on the day and more is Microsoft. So this name, definitely not worth it. We did talk about Netflix possibly today at that $88 mark. So here comes Netflix. It's bouncing nicely off of it and now finally starting to catch a bid. So maybe there's some love for Netflix. Flat there on the day is NFLX. Always love for Adair in the back. What you got back there?
So the story, as Sean mentioned here, Iran and Oman reportedly discussing a permanent toll on the Strait of Hormuz. That would basically entail that countries will have to pay in order to get past if the strait is reopened. So again, toll being discussed here by Iran and Oman. If I get more details, I'll let you know.
Permanent toll. Well, I mean, yeah, that's. I'm being sarcastic. That's obviously not good.
Yeah, they can't be good.
What's the deal
Trump
with
won't
Plug
like
Power? It's become. Let's just say they unplugged the roof on this stock. That doesn't work. Because it would be easier if it was flushing. There's like a million things I could say if the stock was flushing for Plug. Right, exactly. It's just none of them work to the upside. But Plug up 9
Oh,
points
NVIDIA's
today.
getting unplugged.
Bye-bye. Oh, seriously? No.
That's part of this market move, I guess.
No. Oh, my goodness.
Until AMD.
If I could have flipped to the level 2 fast enough, but I was just on the chart.
Everything.
Somebody just ate a lot of shares at 220. It was hard to see, but if I had to guess, it looked like in one shot, 250,000 shares maybe. In one shot, someone was just like, I'll take it. All you can eat, insta-filled. Like I saw it, it was gone. So big battle happening on NVIDIA as they're getting smoked. Probably ARM is going to be coming back then. Yeah, ARM might break this trend and come back in. I'm going to look for the most obvious trend break. Not going to be SMCI. Who else is there? AMD maybe. No, you know what? It's going to be ARM. I'm already looking at ARM making higher lows. Like, don't confuse things. It's on call it a bull flag, call it whatever you want, but it's a consolidation upward trend. If it loses that, with what's happening in NVIDIA, I'd probably look for a short there. As NVIDIA, the big baddie, is heading to the downside. But it's only down 1.7%. NVIDIA is not in any real trouble today.
No, not yet. No,
well, not yet.
I mean, I think they're in trouble because they had a great report and then they just are falling on their face right now.
So, how bad can we feel if it's down 3% when the expected move was 5?
Well, but I just feel bad because it was a great quarter. I mean, if they had a bad quarter, then the move should have been 5. I mean, now on a good quarter, there goes the market. So, oh man, there goes NVIDIA, by the way, downside. I was going to try to get short on the TQs, but we just. I was waiting for a little bit of a pop into 75.30s again, but that does not happen. And we still continue to go lower right now on the TQQs. So there goes the NASDAQ breaking the day's low. That's not a great story at all. Tesla as well at a level now that we could potentially look at, but they're breaking too. There goes 417. So they were just trying to bounce off of some of their buy zones, and it doesn't look like it's going to be a buy zone for very long. It's getting crushed right now. To the downside goes Tesla into 416. Maybe a take of 416, maybe back up to the upside. 417. Would maybe be something, but it's pushing lower right now. It's a good thing we didn't get out of Microsoft early enough, but we still got out. That's starting to make moves again, breaking through 417 now lower. Is Microsoft natural gas storage coming out soon? We could see if that's doing anything. Palantir probably falling on its face a little bit as well. Well, not really. Palantir's actually holding out now. So, yeah, I think it was that whole Strait of Hormuz discussion there that all of a sudden happened that sent the markets to the downside a bit. So, we're going to have to wait, man. The TQ's bouncing around now, downside, the market getting lower. But, yeah,
go to Adara.
Ozan saying 410. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Adara. Oh, never mind. I was going to ask a question. We'll do it after.
Are you asking about ARM? No. Oh. I honestly, the volume was so light, I didn't want to put it on the watch list, so I haven't looked at the report yet. Still now, volume's light. We're not even at 1 mil. My understanding was that they beat. It's just not a well-received report, and I find that John Deere on earnings is either really strong or really weak, and there's kind of nothing in between. So that's as someone who trades Deere and is currently red on it. DE, that's my take on that. But in the meantime, let's go from the large caps to the small caps, which are very tradable on the day, unlike sometimes names like John Deere. SBFM on watch here. This is Sunshine Biopharma on watch here. They are a company that got some approval in Canada for their generic amoxicillin. So regulatory approval for a treatment there for SBFM. Keep an eye here as well on LIMN, Liminatus Pharma. They entered into a definitive agreement to acquire a company called Inox AI. Apparently, this agreement was entered on May 17th, but it was announced yesterday. That's a $320 million all-stock transaction. So the acquiring party to the upside here. Last but not least, LAES. This is Seals Q Corp. I know Sean asked about this one. It's rallied multiple times in the past. I remember this name going back to 2024. They're a quantum play, rallying in sympathy, of course, with that report, which has been confirmed by some companies, actually, that the U.S. government is going to be investing $2 billion across 9 quantum companies. LAES, to my knowledge, is not one of those companies, but trading higher in sympathy. Back to you.
Thanks, Adara. I just feel like Deere had a good quarter. I'll get to the daily chart in Deere in a second, but ARM broke that trend line. Maybe there was something better in the moment when the market was tanking, but I elected to not look at any other names once I saw that trend line break. So short, first support's at 28, next is at 24, and Walmart just trailed out. Well, Walmart was doing a decent job of bucking the trend, and then it just lost the upward trend as well. Well, you know what? I guess it wasn't going to go that far, Walmart. So it broke the trend here. I missed the entry on that breakout. So if that ever happens, I usually just get half in and look for a place to add. But the entry should have been there on the trend break, and I didn't get that price. So I always want to try to have the actual price on the setup for the trade, but you can just blatantly see it losing the trend line. Now down 7% here, Walmart. I did want to note, this is why I was reacting to Deere, because I was a little surprised they were down 6.5%. This is at the 200 period moving average, down at 520 after, and I'm going to double check, pretty sure it was like 11 billion on revenue.
Like I was saying to you, I mean, it's about, Walmart was a beat.
That's what I'm saying, but I don't think
it's a matter of the game.
I have to double check. I don't think Deere's that expensive. I'm going to look back, because if that's even remotely a value versus Caterpillar, let's just say, I might decide to nibble in after their earnings there.
All right, we went back to the futures again, and so right now we're into TQs, into the NASDAQ. Don't have that very bottom, but it came right into yesterday's kind of, I don't actually have it on there. It was NVIDIA when they reported some of the lows that were hit there on the NASDAQ when NVIDIA got to 216, 217. That was down into here, so we'll wait to see if that little wick down, and we don't have like a huge amount of volume or anything to support that was the bottom, so not too sure, man. It got all the way back up to 75, and look, those are these sort of tops potentially there. Wick bottoms when it was working, upside. Now it looks like wick tops when the short is in. So yeah, a little nervous right here about what's going on with the futures as we are unable to get back. It's so hard for me to flip short at these levels. Like if it were to bump up a little bit, then I feel like we could grab some shorts in the space right now, but it's just, everything is too far down. I don't want to push these levels. It's 10:30 now. We've seen battle backs in and around this time. It's a good thing we got out of NVIDIA because that's going lower there. We were unable to fight Microsoft successfully, but now that's trying to finally get back up to the upside. Maybe this one wants to break long. I don't know. We've already taken a couple swings and misses at that one. Maybe 418 and change for Microsoft to come out. So we'll have to wait to see what's going on with Microsoft, but so far so good here on any of the shorts that people may be holding, including INTU. We're going to go to Adair in a second, but Fabian's over there now, so you let me know when she's ready, and we'll throw it back over. 312 or so for Intuit. We said that there was a good chance that this name battles back, and that's pretty much what it's trying to do now. Still down 19%, of course, is INTU, Intuit, so that one's blasting around there. So I don't know. Some beat up names continue to be the case, and then DraftKings. I just saw that come through, $25. Okay, not much going on there. I'm still liking that Microsoft for a bounce back, but we've got to take out at least 418, I think, to get going again. Yeah, this name's that's not the one. We'll still stay in the futures and see if we can make something happen over there.
Thank you, Anurag. You just put it in the chat. Deere's P is like 30. So that's not as good as I was hoping it would be. I was I looked at that, I was like, based on the report and based on where the price action was, I'm like, if it's reasonable, but that doesn't sound all that appealing to me. I'm a Caterpillar owner, so I was just looking for things that are interesting on the dip. But let's go to Adara. It's almost 10:30. We're gonna get that nat gas number at 10:30. In the last 2 weeks, it has been a big trend reversal trade. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but it's got to be on watch, Adara.
I've been having some internet issues, but I'm going to try to cover that nat gas number for you guys for sure. I want to talk here about Deere, though, because I know Neil mentioned it, so I thought, why not go over the numbers? Forecasting fiscal 2026 net income between $4.5 billion to $5 billion. The numbers themselves were a double beat, as Neil alluded to, so $6.55 per share earnings. $5.73 was the expectation. Sales, $13.369 billion versus $11.535 billion expected, so nice double beat. Neil, there was some issue with tariff exposure, and that could be what's happening here. So they said their U.S. tariff exposure remains largely unchanged, net of a potential $272 million refund. They're expecting 2026 tariff exposure at almost $1 billion. So massive tariff exposure still for John Deere, even when we're seeing companies like Elf actually, change some of their tariff-related pricing issues. Deere saying they're still expecting tariff issues, so that could be what's happening. Back to you.
Thanks, Adara. Well, Tesla has filled in the next gap rather convincingly. So it tries to bounce off the highs, like the afternoon or post-market highs or closing highs. Now you're right back into the chop zone looking for a trend break. So if we're willing to take shots on this breaking trend, down here is going to be that spot. At least the next one there on Tesla. Remember, 90 seconds. I'll probably be looking at Boyle and ARM from being real, because if you're staring down a number and looking to get in when an economic number comes in this case, the nat gas, you got to be on that level too. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I got to be looking at Boyle in the moment, looking for a VWAP breakdown, and then the 74s here in ARM. This doesn't really look like, it's not an obvious add, even though it's trend down, because this is still a bullish stock bouncing off VWAP. So it gets a trend break, and either that trend break works or it doesn't. Like, I'm not adding to this on a bullish chart. Overall, and I love ARM, up 8.5%. This is like literally the best chip name today. Has to be. Maybe it was Marvell more.
No, I don't know. ARM's doing this by itself. I mean, right now, right now you have the market trying to get a little lower there. We averaged in, so we didn't even get reloaded. We just took a little bit more shares there on the TQs with the sirens up. I'm still waiting at 74.98. We talked about getting a little bit of a piece up there. If it comes back up to 75, I don't know. 98 is literally the top, so just looking for a little bit of a push. It shouldn't matter. We're still not filled. That's crazy. All right. Oh, we got it. Okay, there it goes, breaking through. So here we go. Finally got a trade on right now with the futures, and we like that one. Still waiting to see if Microsoft wants to go. And NVIDIA barcoding now, not looking horrible here for NVDA if we're able to break above 219.50. All right, over to Adara for these gas numbers.
I'll cover these for you guys live. Should be coming out in any second now. Forecast for this nat gas change, 96 billion. Coming in here at 101 billion. So higher than expected nat gas change print. I'll pull up USO for you guys, see how that's doing. USO, I mean, kind of nothing massively different here immediately after this print. Of course, we know push up, opens up, closes lower, spikes back down. But yeah, again, higher than expected by about 11 billion for that, or sorry, 5 billion for that nat gas change.
NVIDIA trade up through 219, but that just happened right now through 219.50 through that break. So we just took a little small piece there thinking that, hey, maybe it's starting to go. And it looks like it's starting to fall right back in. But oh boy, did we do something here on the futures as that just spiked right up as well. So that's going to be a good one, man. We did go back to the futures and back to the well over there, as it's been probably one of my best trades, has been looking at the NASDAQ. So there it goes right back up to the upside, man. We go back to the bread and butter, and there it goes. It's a nice trade there on the TQQs upside for now. So yeah, man, making a little bit of bread back now on the TQ. So that's a good one. And we tried NVIDIA. I was thinking like that little spike up there might have done something. But again, the futures did spike on that nat gas numbers on that EIA report. So just waiting to see what NVIDIA does here. Getting get stopped out if it breaks back down below 219. Only giving this one 50 cents, man. If it's wrong, it's wrong. We can wait for better buys on NVIDIA. But that spike was just basically a break of this pattern that we haven't broken since 920. We'll see if that winds up happening right now. So bouncing off of it, maybe we got a little bit too excited. Let me take something out at 50 again if it does come back. But here we go. So far, so good on the comeback up. Good trade on the TQs, not so good here on NVIDIA, but giving it time.
Yeah, obviously there was no trade in Boyle. I had the stop set. I was like locked and loaded to punch the breakout. I'll show you in a second, but Boyle went down. So like there was no breakout trade to be had. Tesla also attempted to break trend here at same time as the number came out. So just taking it in. We said we'd look for the bounce there, wanted into VWAP if we can get there. And then ARM, no reload on a bullish name. The trend either works or it doesn't. Binary, right? Like take the trend break, it either continues or it doesn't. It did not, unfortunately. And for just an idea, what I was looking for in Boyle, I just set see I was at 14. I was just like, yeah, if it breaks 14.01, I'm just going to go long. So I was just basically like, I'm going to take this breakout if it goes in the other direction, because that's the direction it went the last 2 weeks. But I wasn't really playing it the other way. And it didn't even do much continuation to the downside. So yeah, a bit of a nothing burger there in Boyle, but worth a look. Like, I'll be real, I would turn to Sean, it's like we sit there and look every single day And we can pull up the numbers today, like real trading. You see Amex, all that stuff. And so you start to look for things that might be on the Amex that give you an opportunity. When I saw a pattern on Boyle, have a look. And if it would have been a straight shot, like it was the last couple times, you take that break, you scalp it out. It's a nice little binary trade. I like those types of ideas because it gives you like one moment in time where you can sort of lever in, just like an IPO. Very similar.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this too. It's really the only way anyone's making any money is finding these little niche things, right? Hitting these keys and trying to buy NVIDIA on dips or rips or all that is really good, and that's why we talk about trying to like make hay with these kind of strategies. But as far as like the real cash is concerned, unless you have a real big stop, trading some of these names can be tough. But here it is, man. I'm right back into NVIDIA. So there you go. In and out there for 50 cents. I'm just going to try it off the lows now because we'd already sort of made these moves in. But again, like if we break and make new lows, then what are we even doing? Right now, NVIDIA's back into 218.20s. That's the low of the day. So I don't know. Do we really want to step back into this name? Maybe not at these levels. So NVIDIA right now, 217, on a breaker through that. Definitely something that we have to get out of if it winds up breaking. I'm just trying to catch some bottoms here. It doesn't look like the bottom is in anywhere right now. But we did well on the Qs. It's just that one didn't really have too much extension back upside either. The name of the game is short today. And we actually said that it wasn't Dane. It was somebody else there on the chat that was commenting about potentially looking at the bearish side of the trade today. And I think you might have been right there. As there goes NVIDIA rate. I mean, it didn't do anything. We're out 50 cents again. It seems like 50 cents is like that magical number. It's trying to hold 218. Who knows? We're long at 218.50 right now. Might have just bounced off of it. I'm going to say no right now and just give it a couple more beats underneath 218. But tried to beat it. Looks like it's trying to get back upside. I don't know, man. There's really no reason for this market to spike. I mean, we've seen USO continue to make highs. Not really. I mean, now it's pulling back in. That news on oil, I thought, would spark something there. Doesn't look to be doing too much. All right, here comes NVIDIA right back up to the upside again into 50s. So, yeah, let's see if this one can mature up into 219.50 again. Maybe not. What's up, Adara?
Spotify guys on watch. They had an investor meeting at 10 a.m. Eastern. Just seeing the summary from that. Apparently, they expect to deliver gross margin of 35 to 45%, operating margin above 20%. That's through 2030. They're also committed to reaching 1 billion subscribers through 2030. So some Spotify investor updates. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. You know what just popped up to the #1 name on my trade rate? It's not NVIDIA. It's not Soxel. It's not Micron. It's not Intel. It's Rocket Lab.
Okay.
Of all things, Rocket Lab was an offering today. That's the reason why they're down 6%, or at least that's the reason we saw that they were down 6%. Pretty sure that's the only one. But this could be something. Look where it bounced. Forget about that dark pool wick. 124. Look at yesterday's low, 124. Pre-market low, 124. Where'd it bounce? 124. So all things being equal, it just broke trend. I don't like a trend break if it's right at VWAP. You want to take out VWAP, in my opinion. So I want this to break VWAP, and then I'm going to throw that on a side chart for sure. I'm just fighting a sneeze. The only thing we're in here is Tesla.
Breaking news.
Yeah, and the thing with Tesla, Tesla's now like $6 away from VWAP, which sets a different risk to reward. Like, think of that gap. So when you're giving it to the prior bar, yeah, that's like $1.70, like wider stop than before, but the upside is also bigger as well. So you have to be able to respect that. So Tesla on the comeback trail, the market on the comeback trail, Rocket Lab on the comeback trail. OPEC likely to agree. Oil output quota hike of 188 barrels per day at June 7 meeting.
Yeah, there it goes.
That can't hurt.
No, it does not hurt. And also does not hurt to be long, as you just mentioned there. The NASDAQ on the way back up, so we're getting out some more at the highs. We actually bought the dip quite well on NASDAQ. I mean, fighting individual names, like we fought Microsoft on a story, we fought NVIDIA on earnings, we fought the law and the law won, but right now we're getting back into this game right now aggressively. Let's go NVIDIA, nice little spike up there for NVIDIA. There we go, now that's back into the dollar club range, so we're happy with that one. We'll hit our, we haven't been able to do it much today, but there it goes. Nice move back up there for NVIDIA. Look, the last time we went long, we busted through this 219 and stopped. So we're going to take, 219.50. So yeah, why didn't this happen the first time? We wouldn't have had to take the L, but we did, get back in, and now we're going to be actually cruising here on NVIDIA back up to the upside. So far, so good there. The NASDAQ, booyaka. This one's starting to work out for us. Look, man, it only takes a matter of time before we get our mojo back. This one was about 10:30, a little bit too late today. So there goes NVIDIA up $1.23. There goes the Qs. So congratulations anybody that was fighting with that one and able to make it. Lost money, obviously, today on Microsoft. That's not doing anything, but we got back into NVIDIA. Let's just see how far this one can go. Can we get back up to the upside here? Hopefully, you know, VWAP is 222. We're just looking at 220. Might as well, this will be my last out for NVIDIA until we really get going. So we're going to put out a decent amount here, right at 219.90, just ahead of 220. And then we'll let it go. We'll see if we can, we're still holding half, so we'll have half left by the time this thing goes. And hopefully we're able to get that back up to 222 and call it a day on NVIDIA. So not too bad there with that. And it's obviously the real trade is right here as we go. My favorite graphic, back to the futures. And as that continues to go higher. Let's take another out right now at 40 if we can, as it's at that 50 period, it's at VWAP, it's at everything. So we'll just watch out for that one and see if NVIDIA can continue to climb. But there it is, man, we were able to battle back. So now we're feeling much, much better about our current situation and can breathe easy here on a P&L wise. So nice move back up. Let's see what happens here with NVIDIA and with the futures.
Absolutely, and it's like we're at a VWAP in here on the future, so hopefully Tesla can play some catch up. But it just had the 416 level, which is not the close, but it's right in here on the imbalances where it broke out, and then aftermarket support. So if we can hold trend line, I feel like this is like a Walmart, where if it can hold trend, there's plenty of room to get into 420. So on the stair step up, going to look to try to get some out, rinse and repeat. I do need to get back over. There's one name that it just never got me back in, and that was Nike. So I don't want to get too far away from this, but I was still looking for this silly VWAP retest on Nike. And if it's not going to do it, it's holding a nice flag here, or consolidation. It's not really a clean bull flag. It's close enough. But you have slightly higher highs, slightly higher lows. If it never dips into VWAP, this could end up just being a nice consolidation long. So I'm going to keep eyes on that, maybe on the 15-minute chart. Nike could get back into the green. The market's certainly helping out. And speaking of Walmart and speaking of retail, Walmart's still holding some higher lows. So I got trailed out there, but this still looks pretty solid. We're going to go back to Adara for sector watch, but I'm going to take another crack at Walmart.
Let's take a look here at these sectors. It's a kind of muted board. Like, we're used to seeing either a lot of red or a lot of green. Today, I mostly see a lot of gray, starting with the finance sector. Very few areas of strength or weakness in finance. Industrial services, kind of mid. Even energy and minerals. I mean, we have some weakness, but the larger names here going to be roughly flat. Health services, roughly flat. Health tech gets kind of interesting. You've got strength in names like Eli Lilly. We know they had that obesity drug that was well received in trials in certain doses. Amgen to the upside, Merck to the upside. Weakness, though, in retail trade. You've got Walmart dragging this whole sector to the downside, down 7% on earnings. Costs go down 2%. They report next week. Tech services, good mix of strength and weakness. IBM still up 7% after getting that $1 billion quantum-related investment from the U.S. government. AppLovin also up, but a lot of these other names, specifically the SaaS names like Adobe and ServiceNow, are down, and Intuit down 20% on earnings day one. Electronic tech, going to be weak here as well, though there are bright spots like Micron, Qualcomm, STX. Long story short, it's really hard to find a sector that's all strong or all weak. A lot of them are kind of mixed and trading as individual stocks rather than as a group. Back to you.
Here, can we help you out with what platform we're using? Yeah, man, it's just real trading. We've talked about that a couple of times. You go over to real trading. We're using their software here. It's called P-Pro8 platform. There's our little logo there. And I don't know if there's Brendan. What's up, Brendan? Oh, good. Great way to pause it on his face like that.
Derp.
I have no idea who's running this thing. There's Neil.
That's and then with the time machine too at real trading. So
yeah,
that's
there it
me
is right
in
there.
15 years.
Yeah.
Although I can't grow. I'm not.
Yeah.
A beard, you know, it's not me.
This guy can't grow it either, so don't worry. And then here we go over here. Where's the I thought there was something about the platform over here. Maybe there isn't. But anyways, this is what we're using right now, real trading. So you go over here, get in the company, get in the platform. Everything's right here. Go check it out. Sign up with real trading, and you can hopefully make a little bit of money with us and trade with us here. As I was saying in the chat, man, I'll be red today, and that's fine. As we always say, it's always best if you're going to be red within reason, and that's for sure what we are here today. So that is all good, and we'll just wait to see what winds up happening now. And I don't know if we're going to be red for long, but here goes NVIDIA right there back up to the upside. It's NVIDIA, it's the NASDAQ, and if you're trying to find honesty, I think you found the right spot there. You know, many traders will, you know, act like they're green or post big green trades. I don't have a problem. We talked about that Microsoft. We talked about that NVIDIA. Those were problems. There's Google, not a problem. That's trying to go a little bit higher right now. GOGGL. You know, we're just trying to support some of those bids. It's funny because we had talked about Google when it was down there. It didn't really give me the idea of a long. Unfortunately, we should have. But we've done real well, man. Now we're $2 in the money. We're about $1.40 here in NVIDIA. Add that to the 70 cents on the TQs. And actually, now that I see this level, we should maybe get a little bit more out here in the 30s. So we do that right now at VWAP on the TQs. And then just checking back on NVIDIA, 220. I said we weren't going to get anything out on NVIDIA. Oh, no, we still didn't get that trade. Yeah, so we're still waiting for 219.90s right now on NVDA. So we actually missed that. So that's going to be my next out. Hopefully that flies through right now, and we'll have something to talk about. But there we go. NVIDIA, give me that. Yeah. See, now we just missed it by a minute again. So I'm actually going to put that now. I mean, it's just a small piece. We'll put it at 75. Hopefully we're able to get it. But yeah, so battling back here on the day I am. It was just really Microsoft that sort of screwed me up there, just trying to bid it out and didn't really work out. And it's been pretty flat. So I think we did a good idea of leaving Microsoft alone for now. People are red on Intuit. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's what's going to happen.
Intuit's having a rough day. Intel was the one for me. Like, it lost, but it was more, I didn't make a keystroke on Intel, is what it is. The trade would have lost anyway, but lost a bit extra on it. And the short ended up setting up. It just took some time to catch the other end of it. I think that's one of the things that you always have to remember. You know, you can look at the chart all you want, and again, like, I'll look at this. It ends up being a breakdown eventually at that level, where like there's your flat bottom break. But it's a little bit different when you're taking it on the front end, as opposed to look at it, reject that top on the 15, and then when it breaks it the second time through, it's just a little bit more clean. And even still, like, it fills in this gap, and it's actually heading back higher. Like, it's actually looking like when the market's coming back. So
go.
That's pretty much what's happening there. So Tesla, we're back into it. Actually tried to reload this one on the 14s, because still looking for that press into the volume weighted average price. And the quantum names did a bit of a dip there. Maybe this is all that it's going to do. This one wick into VWAP and then right back up. That wick is 2% on QBTS. That's 23.5 to 23 even. And now it's back up to 23.80, which is 3.5%. So if this is all you're going to get off of VWAP, then I'm just going to have to take the consolidation. This doesn't want to give you some kind of clean action on a dip buy where you can reasonably, you know, get in on the line here at the volume weighted average price. The high is 24.70, so it's like $1.20 from here, which is 5%. So I'm got to be willing to nibble in here and try to catch it somewhere on this trend, because the quantum names have been the jam. There's no question about it. Like that's the miss. You needed just one. If you need just one trade, it's clean break, hold 21.5. It's a chase candle for sure, so you're probably getting in a heck of a lot further than you'd want to. At least for myself. Like, I'm taking trend breaks, usually trying to get it like right there, and you were having to chase that one an extra couple percent. But when you're dealing with the quantum names, that's just how it is, because they can go 20% from 10. They're just built different.
Oh man, yeah, no, that's crazy. NVIDIA just came up to our price again. Yeah, quantum names are crazy. At least we wrote it down today. Obviously, we're embarrassed not to have it, but not embarrassed, but it hit our level. We were waiting for early, just a little bit too early right there. Look, we're nothing but love around here, so we're going to pass that around. Neil and I may be red on the day, but Joe and Adara green. So there you go, man. 50-50 around these joints. So congratulations to those two. And yeah, we're always trying to celebrate, winners and losers and talk about our journeys, right? So congrats to Joe and Adara. You're going to see Joe in just a matter of seconds. Hopefully Sharif comes back. Normally he's around by now, so I don't know where he is. Probably getting that one last squat in. And then I'll be joining him at the gym very, very shortly. So NVIDIA just bounced off of 219.75 there. So I don't know what's even, Like, why every price I put in just keeps on bouncing off? I'm using such a small amount of shares. I don't understand it. So I'm going to go to 60s now and just take that last piece out. And then if we rip up from there, fine. I want to take out about 15% of what I have left and then let the rest of this run. So that's what we're going to be doing right now on NVIDIA. And, you know, look, hopefully we're not red for long, but, you know, this name needs to go back there to the upside and watching out for the TQs. And before we go over what's for lunch, that's going to happen pretty soon, let's just go over and see what is going on in the S&P 500 and what some of these markets look like one more time here today. Yeah, pretty red. There's not much to go on today. Eli Lilly, again, pretty happy with it. We talked about that as a portfolio staple for myself, up 1.6%. Percentage, yeah, everything's all right over there. We got some dropping of a plate over there, it looks like. So shout out to Andre. He's trying to get that figured out. But yeah, there's this name here, the health space, so healthcare space. Health technology. Healthcare, Oscar Health Services. We've been seeing some nice moves in this space as well. UNH recently. Oscar's not going to be in the S&P 500, but there's a couple names there to look at for sure. If you're interested, it's over here where the problems lie. The financials kind of flattish today. Good day for Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs, although they're back to zeros now again. And you know, you mentioned John Deere. Yeah, down 8%. Not a nice one there for Deere. So, oh dear, I guess we could say, because that is a nice move lower there for. There he is, Mr. Positive over there. Joe, what was that about? Did you just get a banger over there? Is there a stock you want us to look at? No, Joe's just saying what's up. So yeah, man, congratulations, Joe. I know we talked about it being a tough day over here, so we're glad that you're able to do well. And just because Joe hit it, let's just go over to one more play here, the earnings play du jour, and that would have been Walmart. I think a lot of people probably own Walmart in their account, just like you probably own NVIDIA in your account. I don't own Walmart, but it's definitely been a miss by me because it's been nothing but fire. And if you're looking for something, I was joking when this thing was down 4% or something, saying maybe we get to 6. Well, maybe we get to 7, maybe we get to 8 right now, but coming back into some key levels. And again, this does not show the split adjusted, the move over to the NASDAQ. So here's a Walmart on a longer time frame. Looking at like 114, 115 and change to come through there. Never fear, the professor is here. Sharif entering the building. 116 for Walmart, something that I think you can start to open up the purse strings for. And instead of spending all my money at Walmart, maybe we'll spend some on the stock. My wife is right now at Costco. So maybe we should be looking at some Costco. What's she getting? I have no idea what she's getting. Hopefully some good food or something. All right, let's go back over. They have really fresh veggies and fruit there, actually, at
something
Costco,
that you can put on the grill this weekend.
Yeah, we had steak last night. We've been having a really good things. Yeah, well, for the weekend, I'll get the meat a little closer to the weekend, but good call on that one for sure. I'd like to have some burgers, man. It's Memorial Day. Get some cheeseburgers going on there. That should be a lot of fun. But okay,
it's grill time.
Yeah, it's grill. It's grill time. Big. Yeah, the grill time yesterday. Baxter was all over that, man. 4 nice little steaks there yesterday. It was well done. Today we have a game 8 to 10, so she's probably getting something for dinner tonight. Okay, Adara, it's 10:50. Let's go find out what's talking, and it's Money Talks with Adara.
Well, the way this chart pattern is speaking to me is certainly that it might want to go higher on the daily. It had this consolidation here at that base of around 98.9s, high here of that 99.30s. We broke above that level. Good look here for the US dollar. Now, in terms of economic data, we've had a couple prints here throughout the day. Initial jobless claims coming in at 209,000, so a little bit smaller than that expected 210,000 print. Housing starts and building permits also at 8:30, a little bit higher than expected. Then you got S&P PMI at 9:45 a.m. Lower than expected services and composite number, higher than expected manufacturing print. At 11 a.m., guys, as well, some housekeeping. President Trump speaking to the EPA administrator, or speaking with the EPA administrator, Lee Zeldin. I will keep you all posted on that. I'll send you right now, though, back to the guys.
Thank you, Adara. So there was another little trend break into VWAP on ARM right in here. So it did the same thing as before. Again, got to take something out in front of the volume weighted average price because that's where it continues to bounce. Tighter stop again. Like this time, like the prior entry is going to be tight to the 280 level and looking for continuation into 74. So basically the same thing as before. I mean, Tesla's exactly where I left it before. Nike's not really I mean, it's not bad. Like, Nike's still in the exact same bull flag. Is it, like, I wonder, like, is there a point at which the bull flag becomes so long that it's just not called that anymore? Like, it goes up, and then we go sideways. If it just goes sideways all day, obviously it's not the same pattern. But that's what I see over there. Walmart continues to just sort of hold this slightly downward pattern off the bottom. Like, the actual low got made at 10 o'clock, and it's been doing okay since, but got in, lost the trend. Gonna need to find another setup here for Walmart. Hopefully, like a double bottom. If it can double bottom, then I don't have to worry about some kind of trend line break. So like a double bottom with a bottoming tail wick would be one way that I could jump back into a Walmart trade. With 7 minutes to go in here, one name that I've seen constantly in the chat and is breaking highs. The market ain't breaking highs, but Palantir's breaking highs.
Yeah.
As that goes through 138, 138.30 or so is going to be that high break. Remember, this thing or this stock has an all year, well, even go back to November. Look at this trend line. And the best thing about a downward sloping trend line is if it continues to happen, eventually you just get a better price on the breakout because it's like lower and lower. This breakout could be as early as tomorrow, that 50-period moving average on Palantir. So I like it. We'll see if it ends up happening with a breakout trade. There's just no guarantees that you get in because it might never break that resistance. Or it could break it next week or it could break it next month. I just know that I like it when it does.
All right, we got an American flag today. Generally, that's been a great flag for us because it's meant fried chicken. Today, unfortunately, it means New Orleans roasted chicken legs. So maybe a little spicy there for Miss Adara. We'll see. We'll get back to you on what that spice level is like. So New Orleans roasted chicken leg. I don't like the chicken legs around here, so we'll see what happens there.
It's good the last.
Yeah, last time I gave it to Brendo. Creamy mac and cheese. There we go. So an Adara favorite there as well as the side with roasted potato.
I'm still on the no cheese. So
I'm off that. So hopefully that's.
I forgot the message.
But yeah, hopefully the chicken's okay. I don't want to downplay it. Generally, when it has a bone in it, it hasn't been. Okay, roasted seasoned veg. We always get that in garden salad. That's what's for lunch. Sounds good, man. A roasted chicken leg, we'll take it. Beggars can't be choosers on, especially a day like today. My P&L is not paying for anything around here, so that's a good one right there. But yeah, join the professor and Joe coming through just momentarily for you guys on the day. And yeah, it's been a pretty good one. We're just waiting for the market to get back. I'm still waiting for 219.60. Believe it or not, I'm still right there. This goes all the way down into 218.50, all the way back up. And the price that I'm waiting for can't fill. So here goes one more push, one more push, one more push. Oh, man, that'd be crazy. It got to 257s there. Can we get it again? There it is, finally, yes. So we get that 60 fill right there. So that was a good one for us. Now we'll see if this one can climb up. Hopefully when we get back from the gym, we'll be green. But for right now, it is what it is. Not the greatest day. We're happy with the TQs. They battled all the way back as well. We'll wait to see if we get a VWAP fill in the 30s there. We'll put an offer. I don't even know if I have one. There I have one in the 70s there for this. We'll put one in the 50s. And then we'll see what happens now. Yeah, GCTS. There's going to be a lot of small cap names that are going to get talked about momentarily from these two individuals on the midday.
Yeah, and we're trying, let's got 4 minutes to go. We got plenty of time.
Okay.
We're still holding the same range in here, 14 to 15.5. Somebody is selling Tesla at 415 and a half. So I got another out there. I suppose if we just go right back into the 14, we'll try to buy the next bottoming and tail candle. As long as it holds the higher low, it's on structure and it's okay. But I want that VWAP. And if we're not going to get it, then you're going to look for a different exit point, but for now, it's going to stay on structure over there. ARM, the second entry, much like the first, scalps them on the way down, keep the same, redraw that for you guys, keep the same tight stop. So I'm just going to give it to that 280, like pretty binary at that point. Like I'm willing to hold this for like that next push down, which would be like $4 or $5 in, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to move the stop or anything like that. If it goes under VWAP and holds, then I would move the stop down. But when you have a trend line, you get really cute if you move your stop to the trend line top because that's going to keep going higher and higher, which is a silly way to do it. Because then all of a sudden, the longer you're in the trade, the wider your stop is, which is absolutely silly. Over in Nike, still absolutely nothing happening there. And then QBTS, quantum, wherefore art thou? No bottoming tail wick to get an entry point in this one. We're going to have to set something up on maybe a different name than QBTS. It could be Rigetti. I just feel like if any of these go back in, like QUBT, RGTI, if any one of these can do a clean VWAP bounce trade, I'd just probably go with that one. 20 to 25% on pretty much the entire group there. Just so strong. That's, if there's a fail today, it's like, to me, it's that. You can't like an entire group and like trades that set up that same way and then just miss out on them. Like, that's a frustrating thing. It wasn't just that 21.5 was a level. It also just instantaneously broke trend and held VWAP. That's like 3 good things that it did all in the first candle. Like, what more are you asking for than that? That's what it is. Slap a fail on that. Not to have QBTS is terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Like we were saying, at least we had sort of mentioned it, but yeah, no trades on that one. So whatever, man. There goes Microsoft, trying to see if there's finally some get up to that name. We'll see if it wants to hold this 50-period moving average. Potential buy in and around 418 now for Microsoft. I think I'll try it back right now. Just, you know, we've lost on this name so far, so who knows what's going to happen. But hold of those, not bad there. 417.50 or so is what we're talking about. So if we come back into 418, let's give it back to 417, maybe a break below that, and we'll be able to get out. So I'm going to put that in right now, 416.99, breaking down on Microsoft. Who knows, man? I'm going to take a 418 fill, and then we'll look to maybe get another one at 417.50s if that comes in, and then we'll deal with it after that, man, and hopefully get a nice little win on Microsoft, make a little bit of that money back. It's NVIDIA's $1 right now. The futures are $1, and that's pretty good. This is the TQs. Oh, the TQs are now finally starting to go. We have some offers in the 70s, as we said, 74.70. Sorry, 75.70. So we'll see where that one winds up going. There we go, into this level there. That's 75.70 right there. So a nice little move higher there would be nice. We'll put an offer. Maybe we get filled, maybe we don't. But we'll be checking that out when we're there at the gym. What did you do today, Sharif?
I did quads.
Oh, quads. Quadzilla over there. So we'll see about those quads coming through. But there it is, man. The out on the futures, good little play there. Yeah, like I said,
Get up.
it's been a good day. Well, hopefully when we get back, we'll be back into that Greensville right now, looking for NVIDIA to continue to run through 220. And, you know, no real offers on this one until we get to 222. Let's see if we can get back to VWAP on NVIDIA.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for VWAP as well on Tesla. That'll be the target, but you know, it's a bit of an area because 418. The first long is going to provide the target. Like the first long was in the 418 half, like right in here on that break. That's in front of VWAP, so that's going to be the target for me. If we can find a different entry than the 414 change, it might be something like a higher low. And quantum names going absolutely ham. You guys have seen that already. Walmart getting smoked, Deere getting smoked, just some other ones. Not even Deere's not even catching a bid, man. Like the market's bouncing. They really don't like that on John Deere, unfortunately for them. That was the only surprise one for me. Like Walmart, I had some concerns with Walmart with their pricing that you could see the correction, but Deere to be back at the 200 period after that quarter is a bit of a surprise. Hopefully enjoy some chicken legs.
Yeah, it should be good.
It should be okay. There'll be leftover mac and cheese. So not being on the cheese thing's not a big deal. There's always leftovers. You just got to heat it up in the microwave. So we'll enjoy some of that. We'll see you guys back in the afternoon. Right now, it's the Professor and Joey Chill.
See ya.